is exactly where you want to be listening to us. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
High fly toward left center. Friedel and Myers converge. Sunshine. A battle of ball drops. 2 runs will score. Weather holds it second. A gift. The Reds drop a fly ball that would have ended the game, and the Cardinals miraculously take the lead. Ground ball deep short. That's going to skip into left field. 1 run scores. Walker rumbling around third. He will score. Driven to right. Walker retreats. Still going. Still going. He's got it. He's got it. The Cardinals hang on and win. 10-9 is your final.
I don't even know what to say about that one. I'm going to shower, get on that bird, and get ready for the next series, because that one was a wild one.
That is correct. That audio courtesy of Cardinals TV. That was a wild one yesterday, Alex.
I needed a shower after listening to it.
They lost the game and then won the game and then nearly lost it again in the 9th inning. I needed, I don't know, at least a cigarette. Maybe a whiskey or two.
It was a bad cigarette, though. It wasn't like a good cigarette. That was like this needs to calm me down a little bit. That was like when you're a chain smoker and you like had a pack already and you're like, I shouldn't do this, but my God, my nerves have kicked in.
Yeah,
Lots of cigarettes late in the week.
That was a tough one, but they won.
Yeah.
And that was bad baseball, but at least it was entertaining.
Yep.
It was fun to watch. The Reds went full Reds. Yeah. We watched it happen. And they had the game won. They had it won more than the Cardinals did the other day, where they lost it on the final at bat, final out of the 9th inning. They literally had the ball in their glove. It was a routine fly ball, and they just dropped it.
And what a weird situation to where it's like the center fielder kept calling off the left fielder. The ball's in left field. You could see the left fielder's under it, but the wave off was like, I got to get under this one. It's my ball. And I know the center fielder's the quarterback and the outfielder, but have a little understanding of your parameters of he's there.
The left fielder didn't see it, though. He lost it in the sun.
But he had made the route towards it.
But he couldn't see it.
Oh, okay.
So the center fielder, and Terry Francona said this after the game, the center fielder called him off because he could tell the left fielder had no idea where the ball was.
Yeah, originally he looked like, because you could see him look up, but then it was like
he was trying to shield his eyes. He lost the ball in the sun, so there was no way for him to be able to make the play. So the center fielder's trying to make the play, and then I think he saw that the left fielder was there.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, we're going to run into each other. They were both a little hesitant, and then nobody makes the play. Here is Cincinnati sports radio host Mo Egger on what took place in the outfield. You can imagine, Alex, not too thrilled. This is yesterday afternoon, right after the game concluded.
You have sunglasses. It's sunny. They're on your hat. What purpose does that serve? For the love of God. If you're the manager of the team, how are you? Hey, Dane, TJ, all the guys, put sunglasses. Matt McClain's wearing sunglasses on his hat. What good do the sunglasses do if they're on your hat? What are we doing?
He's not wrong. You're wearing you know how awful that looks to where you got sunglasses on your hat and you can't see the ball? I'd be ripping whatever outfielder did that for the Cardinals today if that was the opposite.
End of the day, I think Ollie put it best. He did not say this on the interview with Chip. He did apparently say it on the interview with the writers. Quote, I'm going to shower, I'm going to have an adult beverage, and then I'm going to get on the plane and not think about that one, because you just can't. There's so many things that put us in position to win. There are so many things that almost allowed us to lose and give it away, end quote. He's right. Ultimately, you won 3 out of 5 against the Reds, and that was the goal going in.
Yep.
It's a weird setup. You've got 5 games in 4 days at a terrible ballpark, and you won 3 of them. If I had told you going in, Alex, Cardinals are about to play 5 games in 4 days against the Cincinnati Reds. They're going to lose game 2 of the doubleheader because they took their best shot in game 1, and they're going to lose the game in which they're going up against Chase Burns. Are you signing up for that?
Yeah.
I think we both would have been like, yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And I think that's probably a pretty good outcome, all things considered.
Yeah.
Now, the way it happened was weird and uninspiring and frustrating and maybe even a little disappointing, because they could have won all 5. But they did get 3 out of 5, which is kind of the goal going in. all things considered, Alex, I guess you'd consider it a pass-fail test, and they passed, technically speaking.
T-Bone labels a lot of these too during the blue seasons where you play a bad team and it's like, look, this is a pass or fail test. Like, all you need to do is beat this team. There's no excuses of what took place in it. And I kind of have the same conversation with this Red series. The other factor you have to put into this is your bullpen has just been in a rough spot. And you knew that going into that Red series, and you had to manage through it. Also, you have a Kyle Leahy who's getting closer to that pitch count. So, like, you knew you were going to be in a tough spot. Look, my daughter likes to say things are poopy. That was a poopy series. It was a real poopy series, and I felt dirty, and I understand Ollie saying afterwards, I'm going to need a beer and a shower after that one. Because
I think he's more of a
tequila
guy.
vodka, understandable. So mix them all
for the good agave.
Mix them all together right now, because like you need to just forget about that one. But if that would have been against the Brewers, if that would have been against the Cubs, we'd all be celebrating the fact that you won the series. Like, regardless of how ugly it looks, we could sit here and have the conversation of, well, are they a playoff contender or not? You just needed to beat the Reds. And luckily for you, the Reds just needed to beat themselves.
And they did.
You're a cockroach. It's what you've been all season. You found a way to pull yourself back in. The Reds lost that game too. And if you're the Cardinals, you are not apologizing to anybody for that. You're keeping yourself alive. You're doing what you've done since the trade deadline, win every series, and now you go into Philadelphia looking to win a massive series.
It's a big one. Cardinals 2.5 back of the wild card standings right now, and they're well set up in some ways, and also it's problematic in others. So you've potentially got a spot here, Alex, where I think the Cardinals are going to call up Quinn Mathews for the game on Sunday. That has not been announced, but he's set up in terms of his off days to be ready to go by Sunday afternoon. And Kyle Leahy is reaching his innings limit. All of the beat writers are setting us up right now to say basically, yeah, I would be prepared for Kyle Leahy to transition into more of either a piggyback or bullpen capacity starting as soon as this weekend. Well, Sunday is his current day that he is scheduled to start. That has not been officially announced by the Cardinals, though. My guess is when they announce their starters for this weekend, it will be Dobbins tonight, Palante tomorrow, and TBD on Sunday. Because there's no purpose in announcing Quinn Mathews right now. You probably wait to do so until Sunday when you officially, quote unquote, call him up to get that start for the Cards. So if he starts that day, you've got a lefty on the mound going up against a predominantly left-handed heavy starting lineup. Makes a lot of sense. Set up well there. Leahy could potentially piggyback with him coming out of the bullpen, give you bulk innings there. What else are they going to do to the bullpen? That is one of the open-ended questions today. Jeff Jones tweeting out this morning, Memphis took a 4-3 lead into the ninth inning last night, only to turn the ball over to a position player who took the mound in the ninth inning, and Memphis found a way to lose the game 8-4. Winquest, last pitch on Tuesday. Fernandez, Motts, and Rincon all pitched on Wednesday. Swanson most recently pitched last night. He adds, it sure feels like a shuffle is coming for the bullpen. I will be very curious to see what they decide to do here, Alex, because the Cardinals right now are lacking when it comes to flexibility within their bullpen. The only current options that have options available for them where they can send them down without putting them through waivers are Gordon Graceffo and Luis Gastelum. I would be very surprised if Gastelum is the guy that they send down. He is somebody that is seemingly hitting his stride. Apparently, he was tipping his pitches early on somehow. They corrected that, and his stuff is playing exceptionally well. So he is somebody that I would figure is going to play into their plans.
Right.
Graceffo has been pretty good lately as well. So do they go with Caleb Ferguson as a DFA candidate?
It'd be hard to
imagine. Do they go with Strzelecki, who yesterday pitched bulk innings, who's probably unavailable today? I could see that as a DFA candidate potentially. What do you think they do here, Alex? How many new arms are they potentially going to add into the mix to the bullpen, and what are the corresponding moves in your mind?
This is the ultimate like chess solution right now of figuring out what you're doing before the other side you play against them. Like I don't think they're going to send down Graceffo or Gastelum because those are guys that they rely upon, for better or worse, in high-leverage situations. it's the easiest roster management, so maybe I'm just looking past it, and Graceffo is going to be a guy that they send down to just ease up a little bit, bring them back up in 15 days, and you can just put somebody else in that position. I think Strzelecki is probably an obvious DFA choice. I just don't feel like he provides a whole lot. He's coming in those blow-up innings, and if you could bring up a Fernandez to replace that righty, then maybe you're in that spot. The other one I wonder about, and maybe not so much, like the Ferguson one for me would be odd. They just traded for him. Now, I know they did this last year where they traded for a dude and then they DFA'd him.
Also, it's worth noting what they traded for him was $250,000 in international signing bonus money that they had not utilized and probably won't utilize. So it was a sunk cost. It's kind of like in your FSA program, Alex. If you have one of those, your flex spending account, if you don't use the money by the end of the year, it's just gone. Mm-hmm. So you might as well go to Walgreens and buy yourself a bunch of Band-Aids and
Tylenol.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff at the end of the year. And that's basically what the Cardinals did with this, where they got a left-handed reliever. It costs them effectively nothing.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. If that is the move, they didn't actually lose anything by doing so.
They didn't trade anything. Well, and in that case, then Ferguson makes a ton of sense. The Brule is the other one that I wondered about. Do you put Justin Brule in DFA and hope that he gets through, and then you just send him down to the minors?
Be a weird series to do that because you have so many lefties that are in the lineup for the opposition, and he's been pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the exception of this most recent outing, what was that, 2 days ago? He's been pretty damn good for the team.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's probably going to be either asset management, and you're going to see Graceffo go down, but I think you're going to see DFA, at least one, maybe two, and the Ferguson-Strzelecki makes more sense to me than sending down Graceffo.
Yeah, my guess is, because Sunday you're also going to need to make a move. Keep this in mind. If you decide to go with, a couple of new arms for today and tomorrow, you also have to make a move on Sunday, potentially, to call up Quinn Mathews. And I think that'll be the last time that you call him up. You also have the September 1st call-up, so that's playing into some of these decisions here where you're going to expand the roster here in about 10 days. So keep that in mind as they make some of these moves. 40-man decisions are in play here, like Cade Winquist. Do you want to add him to a 40-man spot before the end of the season when you know the lockout is looming this offseason? Do you want to do that with Hansel Rincon, with the 40-man situation? I don't know. There's just a lot of factors playing into this. My guess is it's Fernandez and Motts. It's the path of least resistance. There are no 40-man considerations to those moves. You can call both of them up and then send them back down on Sunday, either of them, on Sunday for Quinn Mathews if you want to, and then call them back up here in about 15 days as you get the expansion of this roster. So today, what you probably do to make that possible is you send down Graceffo and you DFA Strzelecki. That's my guess on how you make this work, and then you can call Graceffo back up when you get into September. That would be my prediction.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, I think you probably send down, I would guess, Fernandez, and you call up,
Keeping all the lefties up there?
yeah, and then you decide to call up in that spot Quinn Mathews.
And then your bullpen's a little bit shorter, though, moving forward, correct?
Well, you've got
Although Leahy's probably
moving,
Leahy, so
who would be in your bullpen starting on Sunday.
So Leahy's
there's a lot of moving parts. Over the next 3 days, there's going to be some moving pieces. By Monday, we'll have more answers.
Essentially, by Monday, though, in this scenario, Leahy is replacing Fernandez and Mathews is replacing Leahy, and then you're putting Bryson Motts in the bullpen for Strzelecki and Caleb Ferguson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ferguson's another one. They could DFA him instead of going with Graceffo down. That's entirely possible. I just wonder if you want to really load up on lefties out of the bullpen for this weekend. For the next 3 days, like maybe Ferguson is a guy that you DFA on Sunday. You use him over the next 2 days, and then you DFA him on Sunday for Quinn Mathews. Because you'll use those guys a lot against Harper and against Kyle Schwarber as well. That top of the lineup for them is super left-handed heavy. They're the guys that really impose any fear against you.
It would make that probably is the path of least resistance, because I would imagine even if you want to load up on lefties, you want to keep Graceffo up here because he's still an arm that you could bring into multiple situations. But I think when you're talking about the DFAing spot, that's what you're going to do in this role, where you're going to start bringing up some of these other guys that play potentially into your future, and you start moving pieces around that helped you out from the trade deadline up until now, and now you get into this next core of them.
I would love to see, I don't think they'll do this. What I would love to see is Cooper Jerpy this weekend.
They started him, though, the last 2 times for Memphis, so I would imagine they're trying to train it more.
Yeah,
as
I
a
think they
starter's
want
role.
him in a very regimented routine.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see him in this series.
He's made 3 starts and he's gone 11 1/3. So, like, they're being real cautious with him.
Yeah, I think he would be a lot of fun to see this weekend against this left-handed dominant lineup. I don't think that's likely to happen. I think you'll probably see Bryson Motts instead. Alongside Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. If you guys want to get involved in the show, the place to do so is 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. You can also check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. We'll get to ask us anything at the end of this hour. We've got Brad Thompson, the Cardinals analyst, joining us coming up at 11:30. Also, it's a Friday, which means it's our day to talk with our guy in the former NHL goalie, Mike McKenna, as he joins the show coming up at noon. Coming up next, we've got an update on Mark Mitchell's eligibility, and it's not a positive one if you're Mark Mitchell. We'll get into that next here on 101 ESPN.
Be a part of the show. Text the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line at 314-399-9646 on 101 ESPN. They are St. Louis. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
An update on the update for Mark Mitchell. Literally, as I was teasing going into the break,
Didn't
Alex,
even hear the first update.
we got a new update on Mark Mitchell. So the update from last night was, new judge has ruled that anybody that was part of the Colorado case. Now, if you're a casual college sports observer, just know this. There are a lot of guys that are getting individual court cases to grant them eligibility for the 2026 season. This is for football and for basketball. Those are the main 2 sports that are getting this. This is for anybody that was in the class of 2022. There are other players, though, that are just under this large umbrella of, hey, Colorado, one of their judges granted universal eligibility to the class of 2022. Well, that case last night, Alex, was kind of thrown out for all intents and purposes. There was a temporary restraining order, there was a stay that was put on that. So if you were utilizing the Colorado ruling as a player, the umbrella ruling, you no longer have eligibility.
Damn.
Mark Mitchell was under that umbrella. But today, he had a court case in Louisville. So the new update is that he has an individual case in which he has now been ruled eligible. And a more important piece of the update for Mark Mitchell specifically, he is now free to enter the transfer portal. So Mark Mitchell, based upon this case, ruled, or the judge ruled, hey, not only are you eligible for 2022, you have freedom of movement. So you can go to Kentucky if you would like to do so. So this weekend, I would assume we'll get some kind of an update on him and what the plans are there. But this is now the thing that's going to have to happen for each of these players that wants to be eligible for 2026, is you have to have your own court case where you are granted eligibility by a judge. And then you have to hope that nothing happens within the courts that limits said eligibility. It's a mess. It's a disaster. College sports are in a horrible place in this specific area right now because they made this ruling of, hey, everybody with a fifth year, or everybody gets a fifth year, except for the players that just played their fourth years. Sorry, you guys are done now. And then the courts are like, no, that doesn't make any sense. They get the fifth year as well. So anyways, that's the update on Mark Mitchell. He is now eligible.
Yeah, this is once
if you're
again
confused, I don't blame you. Everybody is.
This is basically going to be, just tell me if the guy's going to be playing for my team or not, because who's going to be able to keep track of? You just had an update on top of an update in a matter of seconds.
Correct.
And there's going to be a lot of, I would imagine, moving these cases to different courts so that it doesn't get held up like the Colorado one does, to where it's like, hey, let's make sure it's in this circuit so we don't get stuck into that spot and get that year of eligibility. This is going to come down to, until the NCAA finishes their ish out, which good luck doing that.
They can't.
Yes.
They have no ruling in this area. That's why somebody from the 636, sorry to jump in here, Alex, but this is all very complicated. From the 636, can you guys explain how the courts have any authority to allow players to play, and what does the temporary restraining order do? The temporary restraining order gives you the eligibility. That's what that's for. Why do the courts have authority? Because the NCAA doesn't. Because the NCAA has no actual authority over who's eligible and who's not right now.
It's toothless.
Yeah, like they can't do much of anything. It's why they're relying on Congress to put together laws that will determine whether or not players are eligible and what they can do with the money, where the restrictions are that are put in place. The NCAA is losing court cases left and right. They're losing all these cases, man. It's crazy. Like G League players eligible for college basketball, NFL players currently on rosters. Yeah. I saw an update today. Apparently, there are players that are on NFL rosters today, Alex, that are going to their teams and saying, please cut me today so I can be ruled as eligible for college football, because I'm unlikely to make your roster, and I would rather go ahead and latch onto a college roster today and make guaranteed money than have to try to find a spot on an NFL practice squad in 2 weeks and make less money to play NFL football than I would by playing college football. So that's what's happening in the backdrop of all
And
of
your
this.
initial reaction to that is like, imagine going to an NFL camp and saying, cut me. Like, that's the dream. That's where you want to be. But
you make less money.
I'd rather make guaranteed millions of dollars and have another shot at a camp with another year of eligibility in college than worry about going through this whole process and getting cut on the last day and being stuck on an island. So, I mean, it makes a ton of sense. This is the gray area, which, I mean, like it or hate it, whatever you want with it. Smart on the players front. Like, keep your career going and get as much money as you possibly can, guaranteed. And you're going back to college to where you can essentially put your stock back up in the NFL, hopefully the next year.
So to localize it even further, Mizzou D lineman Sterling Webb actually received his TRO at a less confusing time than right now, because it was several weeks ago. Mm-hmm. It's just, again,
and
different
it was in a
development.
specific case for him.
Yes, but still, a different development, to your point, within minutes, within seconds. You don't know what we're going to see, for that matter, tomorrow. It's just absolutely bewildering. And when you take it into consideration as well, the actions and some of the stances, I guess, being put forth right now, even by a Greg Sankey, SEC related, that's a separate but related note.
It's insane. Again, if you are somebody that is just a casual observer of college sports, you watch on Saturdays, you get your updates via College Game Day, and then you sit on your couch from 11 to 10, and you enjoy all of the games on Saturday. The games are going to be amazing. Like, the product itself is incredible, and you're going to have so many great college football weekends this year because there's an expansion in the SEC conference schedule this season, which will lead to more of the meaningful games. The expansion of the college football playoff, I believe, has been a unqualified success. Mm-hmm. Like, all of this different stuff within the game. If you turn on the games on Saturdays, they are great. And the product itself is as good as I can ever recall it being. And there's more parity than there's been in the past. Like, Indiana just won the national championship, man. That's crazy. Not in a million years would I have thought that would have been possible. And it just happened in front of our very eyes. But all of this stuff in the backdrop of it is a mess. And it's hard to know how or when it's going to be fixed. There aren't obvious solutions outside of Congress getting involved. And man, this is not a political statement. I think most people would agree with it. if you're relying on Congress to fix your mess is probably not going to be fixed anytime soon.
You're going to be waiting a very long time.
Yeah, they've just got a whole lot of other stuff that they're dealing with right now, and they're not dealing with all of that stuff particularly well. And again, that's not a political statement. It's just the reality.
Yeah.
And that stuff is now kind of bleeding into what college football and college basketball are trying to accomplish. So if you're a football fan, a basketball fan of the collegiate athletics, it's a mess. On the Mizzou front, to localize it again, as Bradford said, PowerMizzou.com had an update earlier today, and they mentioned that Eli Drinkwitz is now recruiting on NFL rosters.
Hell yeah, smart.
Play the game, buddy.
I know tell me what the rules are, and I'll play the game.
That's basically what Eli Drinkwitz is saying.
He's genius.
There are players, as I mentioned, that are going to their teams and they're saying, hey, please release me. I can get more money by going back to the college ranks. Dude, it is August 21st. We are 2 weeks away from games being played, like meaningful games being played in college football. I just today bought my tickets for Mizzou's home opener. It's less than 2 weeks from now against Arkansas Pine Bluff. There legitimately might be a player or multiple players on Mizzou's roster that night who are not currently on the roster and are instead in training camps for an NFL team. This is insanity. Now, I guess it's kind of similar to the NFL where you get to cut down day and there are players that are released from NFL rosters that go latch on elsewhere on a different team's 53. And that's why they always say, like, hey, the preseason is not just you trying to play onto your own team, but it's trying to play on any of the 32 teams. Mm-hmm. I guess now it's not only playing on to any of the 32 teams, but also any of the 128 college teams.
And honestly, if you're thinking about it, it's not even trying to get on those other NFL teams, because even then you're not getting paid the same amount of money you're getting paid. I think it's more you're auditioning for a college football team.
Dude,
still.
It's crazy, but that's where we're at. And if you're Eli Drinkwitz, I think it's the smart way to operate. Hey, man, if these guys are going to be eligible,
yeah,
I'm going to add the talent wherever it's coming from.
If I'm Drink, I've got 11 new faces on my defense, and I got a couple of NFL players that are going to be eligible to play in college football. Hell yeah, I'm going to go attack that. Or the offensive line side, right, where their right tackle is injured for the season for Mizzou. Like, if I can go out there and find pieces that fill my void, I mean, you could say it's college athletics, but you could treat it like professional sports. It's essentially free agency, and you're going out and signing the free agent that's available and bringing him onto your roster before the season begins.
It's almost like waiver claims.
Yeah,
like that's
or
what
PTO.
We're about to get into.
You're bringing him in on a PTO for training camp.
And they just so happen to be one of your top 5 highest paid players on the roster.
And will probably be one of your best players in the upcoming season.
I will be curious to see what this looks like in the future. Like, are we going to see guys that enter the NFL draft with this in mind, where they get to cut down day and they know, hey, I've got a backup plan where their agent is kind of back channeling to college teams saying, hey, keep an extra $1 on your roster available because my guy, if he gets cut in training camp, would love to come play for LSU or would love to come play for Alabama or whoever it is. And they'll just be ready to go the moment that the season begins.
And then it sets the precedent because, again, does their stock rise in the draft the following year? Do you become a actual draft pick that makes a ton of money? The first guy that doesn't get selected in the draft that's at training camp, it goes back to college and then becomes like a third-round draft pick, that's going to be the narrative of every lower-tier college athletic player.
I guess, like, let's ask this question for you guys. If you were in their shoes, if you're one of these players, right?
You don't even need to finish the question.
And you have the option. You can either be the 53rd player on an NFL roster and you make $750,000 this year. You're probably going to be either a healthy scratch on game day or a special teamer. That's your role on your NFL team for the upcoming season. You're the 53rd guy, last player on the roster. Or you get a call from Texas A&M, and they would like to pay you $1.5 million this year to be one of the top players on the team. You never come off of the field. You're an established starter for them on a potential college football playoff contender. Which would you rather be?
I mean, to me, it's no contest. I'm going back to college. My NFL hopes are still there. I'm getting guaranteed money now that puts me in a great spot to where next year, if I still have the chance to be the 53rd player on an NFL roster and make $750K, I just made $5 million that I put into the bank before that.
I would like to sit here and say, oh, yeah, I want that next step in my professional development. But look, the game has changed and changed drastically in just the last couple of years, the last year for that matter. So to basically be guaranteed a raise, if you will, of more than half, double and to play a primary role for a contender as well, just basically kicking the can down the road while reaping the financial benefits for a full year, how can you say no to that? I'm realistic.
What if it's $750K to be the 53rd man or $500K guaranteed to go back to college?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because the $750K is not guaranteed. It's each week, the way that it's paid out, it's prorated. So each week you get a check, but there's no guarantee you're on the roster the following week. If the team gets another player, if somebody gets waived, they can claim that player, release you, and then you're just done. You might only get one of those 17 game checks from your team. So that's something to keep in mind as well. You might not make as much money up front, but you're guaranteed more for the entirety of the season.
Security.
Again, it's a no-brainer. I mean,
I agree.
It's security, but it's also I have a shot to do this all again next year with more experience on the college football level. And guess what? I'm going to be the number one guy on that college football team that just brought me in to pay me that money.
Real quick from the 636, we'll get to Brad Thompson on the other side, Cardinals analyst for Cardinals TV. Guys, I thought I read that a judge disqualified the fifth-year NCAA eligibility. It's all over the media. No fifth year allowed. It was reported by ESPN. I totally understand the confusion. I totally understand it. There's a lot going on right now, and some of this is getting lost in translation. So I'll try to explain it, genuinely speaking, as simply as I can. Basically, what has happened? There are a bunch of different lawsuits taking place. If you are a player that has had an individual lawsuit for you granted, Sterling Webb of Mizzou qualifies for this. Now, Mark Mitchell qualifies for this. There are many others across the country, but let's use those two as the local players that would qualify. You are still eligible for that fifth year based upon those individual lawsuits. What has changed in the last 24 hours is that there was a lawsuit in Colorado that granted blanket eligibility to every 2022 athlete for that fifth year. That is no longer one that qualifies for players. So if you were somebody that was looking at getting a fifth year, but you were doing so under that umbrella lawsuit, you now have to go out and seek your own lawsuit in potentially a different state. So that's what's changed over the last 24 hours based upon the new case that has been put in there. So basically, a whole lot of lawyers are making a hell of a lot of money is what's taking place right now. Alongside Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. Brad Thompson joins us next here on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN is powered by Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Don't settle for trading your car, truck, or SUV at a dealership. Get full retail value without the retail hassle at sellmycarstl.com. With a new convenient location on Manchester Road in Baldwin, that's sellmycarstl.com.
Summer should be fun, not expensive. That's why, for a limited time, Wendy's.
101 ESPN has your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to this year's Blues and Brews on Friday evening, September 18th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from the Bobby Ford Band and Matt Jordan, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, on-stage festivities, and more. Tickets are on sale now for Blues and Brews.
Presented by Michelob Ultra, 101 ESPN, 92.3 WIL, and Scott Lee Heating Company, your locally owned and operated Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
Find all the details and your shot to score free tickets right now at 101ESPN.com and on the 101 app. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Redbirds roll into Philly. Good morning, I'm Bradford Bruns. Your Sports Center update is supplied by Universal Windows Direct. Fresh off a wild 10-9 win over Cincinnati, Ollie Marmol's club hits Citizens Bank Park tonight. Cardinals Phillies first pitch slated for 5:40 p.m. Hunter Dobbins will presumably start against Jesus Luzardo. STL's August record sitting at 12-7, whereas Philadelphia has rattled off 6 straight victories. Meanwhile, J.J. Spawn keeps reeling off birdies Belle Reeve style. He holds a 2-shot BMW championship lead. First-round pace setter Gary Woodland teeing it up momentarily. NFL, this evening's preseason slate featuring Jets, Steelers, Panthers, Jaguars, plus Packers, Broncos. Your Sports Center update was powered by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Giving you the picture, the real big St. Louis sports picture. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. We're talking everything Redbirds with Cardinals TV analyst Brad Thompson on 101 ESPN. BT is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the ultimate home run for wings and wins.
Alongside Alex Ferrario and Bradford Bruns, I'm Brandon Kiley. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline. We're joined now by Brad Thompson, the Cardinals analyst here on 101 ESPN. BT, how in the hell would you describe the game that we witnessed yesterday?
Dude, I don't have an adjective for it. Like I've never seen anything like that. We were talking about it after the game, and I asked Ricky Horton. I go, Ricky, have you seen anything like that? He said, yeah, in like A-ball maybe when nobody ever threw a strike, and it was just like the weirdest thing. But what an oddity that game was, and what a backbreaker if you lose that game. The Cardinals come back in that fashion. Obviously, got some help by Dane Myers in center field, but then just like for it to come back to where you end up winning it on a nice grab in right by Jordan Walker after the Cardinals walked 6 in that inning. It was crazy. You lose that one, you are down in the dumps. These guys were riding high after that one. Certainly not how they wanted to win it, but that was crazy.
Well, and how much does that matter, BT? Like we just talked about it in the open. Like these feel like the pass-fail ones to where, yeah, you don't like how ugly it looks, but at the end of the day, you win 3 of 5 against Cincinnati, and you continue your stretch of winning series.
Yeah, it's huge, and right now, like this team has gone past the idea of, hey, they just keep hanging around, to like they're legitimately now contending for a wild card. You win 5 series in a row against the Yankees, Rockies, Phillies, Cubs, and now Reds, and get a chance to see the Phillies again here, who hold the second wild card as we speak. This is a legit opportunity. So these guys they're riding high. You got a lot of young guys that are still learning along the way, but now they're like learning where these games really matter. So that's exciting to see how they react to some of this stuff. But the interesting part's going to be, how can they sustain it from a pitching standpoint? That's what I kind of look at. You look at for a guy like Leahy, especially. He has been so good. I think he's got like a 1.8 ERA or something like that over his last 10 starts, but he's going to be up against an innings limit. Some of these guys are probably going to start getting a little tired. Your bullpen has been worked a lot. Like that's going to be the really interesting part, is how creative can they get from a pitching standpoint.
I'm really curious to see if there are moves today, BT, because I would assume at some point you're going to see probably Quinn Mathews into this rotation again. They haven't officially announced that, but my guess would be that comes maybe as soon as like Sunday. But for the bullpen today, Jeff Jones tweeted out earlier that last night Memphis went to despite being up, they were winning. They went to an infielder for the ninth inning and ultimately lost 8-4 because of it. I would guess that is portending some kind of moves for the bullpen. How do you kind of view where they're at with that bullpen right now? They've been worked a lot lately.
They have been worked a lot, and overall they've been really good, right? Like yesterday aside, that one did not go the way that they had planned, and some oddities in that one. Soriano, who's been lights out, couldn't find it. O'Brien finally found it at the end and got the big out. But I would agree that they need some help. The hard part right now is they haven't had that roster flexibility to have your good old Memphis shuttle, right? Having a guy or two in that bullpen, which sucks to be that guy. I've been there. But that guy gives you 2 innings, and then you bring a fresh arm in. Like, unfortunately for them, like with the guys that they're using a lot, there's really not that, that guy that you can keep optioning back and forth. So that's kind of where they're running into some troubles. Like, you look at just some of the roster flexibility, like Strzelecki's the guy that went 2 innings. Well, I don't think he has options. I don't think that you could move him. If you send him down, you end up losing him potentially. And he's actually been helpful. He was very helpful in this Red Series in both the games. So that's where, like, you run into some issues, is just kind of how that's constructed. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to have to make some tough decisions, because these guys need some help. Like, they need a little bit of a breather. So I'm with you. I don't have any inside information. I was walking around the lobby earlier, didn't see any new faces yet. That doesn't mean they're not here already. So when we get to the ballpark today, we'll see. But I would imagine that they probably have to do something to get some fresh arm in here.
One of those difficult decisions, BT, although it's one that we can understand, is watching the innings for a guy like Kyle Leahy. And we would assume you're going to see him maybe transition more into a piggyback or a bullpen role. How much will that benefit the bullpen and Ollie, even though you're not going to have him as a starter, to have that guy still be able to give you effective 2 to 3 innings when he's available?
Yeah, so that's going to be the part two is, okay, if you're going to give him 2 or 3 innings, are you going to give him starter days rest? Like, he's on a routine now. He's on a schedule, and you will start seeing it taper off when it comes to his innings. And the hard part is, if you still do what they're doing right now and they're winning games, like, it takes a whole lot of the ability to, like, not go to that guy. Boy, that's a hard one, right? But they've been pretty steadfast that they want to stick with him at a certain amount of innings. They don't want to hurt him. This is about the off season. If they do make the playoffs, or it's about next season and the season after. If they do make the playoffs, then he would likely be available out of the pen. So his arm and the ability to give you multiples would be a big boost, but doing it the right way, like just putting a guy in the pen doesn't necessarily make it like a safer move, even if it's less innings, because you know how it is, the ups and downs. Like, you have to still be very regimented with how you would use him, I would think, out of the bullpen.
Yeah, my guess would be you just, every day that you have Quinn Mathews go out there on the mound, he's not a guy that is particular. He's not efficient with his pitches. We know that his stuff's really good, but he's not super efficient just yet. You go 4 with Quinn, and then 2 with Kyle Leahy, and then boom, you're to the bullpen for 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, and that is definitely a way that they could do it. The only caveat with that is you have a bullpen piece that you're taking up, one of your arms, that is only pitching a couple of innings every 5 days, right? So that ends up putting more pressure on some of the other pieces. So that's where creativity is key. I know that their whole pitching staff has been having meetings in Cincinnati. They were doing it again last night here in Philadelphia, just trying to get a plan together of how they want to attack, because you guys know these plans aren't for, hey, what are we doing this series? Like, they're looking way far down the road and trying to set everything else up. But Leahy, to me, has been one of the biggest, coolest storylines of the season for the Cardinals, and certainly there are plenty of them, but his emergence as a frontline starter for the Cardinals, and over the last 10 games, again, arguably the best pitcher in baseball, I think the second best ERA through those 10, he went from a big question mark to a guy that, if I had one game to win, I'm probably picking him right now if all things are equal in this Cardinal rotation.
All right, BT, a couple questions left for you. Brad Thompson joining us here on 101 ESPN. You can see him on all the Cardinals games, Cardinals TV. I do want to get your thoughts on the Rookie of the Year race that we've been talking a lot about on the show over the last few days. Sal Stewart now leads Major League Baseball with 96 ribbies. He also has 27 homers on the season. How do you view him versus J.J. Weatherholt in that NL Rookie of the Year race, BT?
Man, it's so hard, right? Because it comes down to what do you value, right? So they're totally different players. And we were kind of talking about this on the pregame show yesterday, Danny Wexelman and I, with the breakdown side by side of those two numbers. Obviously, Sal Stewart is a far more dangerous offensive weapon. I mean, this guy is racking them up. You mentioned it, leader in RBIs, knocking on the door of 30 homers. He's putting together quite a season. JJ is arguably the best defensive second baseman and brings more value. If you're a WAR guy, he's got him by about 2 points when it comes to WAR. So it just comes down to what are the voters looking for on this one? I do find it, and obviously I'm leaning towards JJ. If I were a voter, I would go JJ, I'd go value, I'd go complete player. But if you're a voter and you're sitting there, it's like this rookie's leading the league in RBIs, and he is also hitting 30 homers. That's a tough one to not vote for. Which way did you guys lean? You stirred the pot, so you must have been leaning Sal Stewart-y.
Yeah, we've talked all year about JJ and how good he's been. BT, I don't say this with any malice in my heart. I think it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, 30 home runs and 100 RBI.
If it was close offensively and you had the defensive value and base running value that JJ has, I would lean JJ. I don't think at this point it's very close, BT, and it would be tough for me to overlook 30 and 100. Those traditional numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, but like the traditional numbers there are just kind of hard to overcome.
Dude, we got the hope is for JJ and for the Cardinals, draft picks attached to this. If you end up winning the Rookie of the Year, you hope that everybody's digging in. You hope it's your guys that are super analytically inclined, which a lot of your writers are. No nowadays. You certainly have your old school, old guard, but that will be a fun one to watch down the stretch. I just know this: it's nice to have a Cardinal rookie that's in this conversation like this. That starts the season in the conversation and remains in it throughout the entire year. I know that we've had a lot of guys over the last couple of years. Jordan Walker is a good example, man. Came out. He was a Rookie of the Year favorite out of spring training. Obviously, that didn't work. Took a couple of years to get to the all-star level that he's at. But the fact that JJ has been able to do this kind of wire to wire, and certainly there have been some ups and some downs throughout offensively for him, it's been so fun to watch. And he's just been so even keel all season long. So he's just one of those guys that as the games continue to have more pressure around them, just because of where you're at in the season, 33 games left in the thick of a wild card, he's like a guy that I want up in a big spot because nothing ever phases this kid.
Especially when you've got the Reds outfield who are trying to catch his fly balls.
That like to keep their sunglasses on their hats.
That's right. Sal Stewart, by the way, not the favorite right now. It's still J.J. Weatherholt in Vegas, so minus 155 for J.J. Before we get you out of here, BT, I have not gotten your opinion on this previously. PCA is now a pretty heavy favorite to win the NL MVP over Shohei Ohtani. Do you agree with that? Do you think he should be the favorite to win MVP?
I do, and I hope this isn't. I hope this isn't Ohtani fatigue. Maybe that I have. I try not to fall into that because Ohtani. I mean, if you're building a baseball player, that's the one I'm going to build. MLB The Show. I've been building that guy for years, and then he finally was a real person. But I do. I just feel like the overall, and it's so hard, right? Because Shohei, what he does on the mound, it's so hard to quantify. But PCA is the real deal, whether it's the defensively, he's elite out in the outfield, big time speed, awesome power, drives in runs. I don't think that you can go wrong picking PCA. Are you on the Shohei train, though?
Yeah, he's on the Shohei. He likes to just stick to, he threw 80 innings this year, so how do you go against that?
Not just 80 innings. Yeah. To be clear, it's a 1.8 ERA over the course of 85 innings. My entire life, BT, if you had told me, hey, a guy's going to throw 80 innings with a 1.5 ERA, and oh, by the way, he's going to finish with like 35 homers and 100 ribbies, yeah, that guy wins MVP. I don't care who the alternative is. Man. Like, I will just blind give it to him and feel great about it. I have zero hesitancy.
I totally understand, and again, it probably does fall into the Shohei fatigue. Like, oh, I've seen that before. Give somebody else a chance. But I really don't think that you can go wrong. But if your argument for Shohei is going to be like, I didn't see PCA throw 80 innings. It's valid. Like, that's super duper valid because he is a freaking unicorn.
Yeah, it's a fun race.
Imagine having that argument, though. Be like, yeah, but he didn't throw 80 innings. Be like, you're right. I mean, I have no rebuttal to that. You didn't.
Trump card. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Hey, my guy has done something that's never been done before. What do you got to say?
Yeah, nothing. My guy's good right now. I guess that's all I have to say.
All right, BT. Enjoy the series this weekend. We'll talk with you again next week, my man.
All right, guys. Looking forward to it. Enjoy your weekend.
You got it. Same to you. That's Brad Thompson joining us here on 101 ESPN, as he does each and every week on BK and Ferrario. In about 15 minutes, we'll catch up with Mike McKenna, the Macadoodles Mike Fridays here on BK and Ferrario. Talk to him about all things hockey. But next, 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Ask Us Anything, sports or otherwise, on BK and Ferrario.
You can now listen to 101 ESPN on demand. Get caught up on all our shows and podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 mobile app. 101 ESPN podcasts are presented by the Schaefer Door Company. We're right back to more of it. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. You've got questions, we may have the answers. Maybe. It's BK and Ferrario's questions and answers on 101 ESPN.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Ask Us Anything. If you guys have any questions, sports or otherwise, go ahead and get them in right now on the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 636, guys, as of this morning, the Cardinals to make the playoffs are roughly 8-1 odds. Would you make that bet? Just a small one.
Yeah. I don't feel like it would be a bad thing because it's. I really feel like it's you and the Padres fighting for that final spot.
2.5 out at present. Huge series in Philly looming. Take a stab at it.
If you take 2 of 3 against Philly, I don't know if the odds will ever be as good as that right now because for how easy that series looks.
So 8-1 odds translate to about an 11% chance to make it to the postseason. Let's go ahead and take a look at where Fangraphs has them right now. They've got it at a 11% chance. So they've got it at 11.6. This would put them at roughly an 11.1. So if you just want to go by, your odds, it's probably about worthwhile. Yeah. It's roughly equal. So sure, you're getting legitimate odds. Like Vegas is telling you, hey, we'll give you the same odds as what the actual percentage is for them to get in. It's probably a good bet, especially if you're a fan of the team. Yeah, I'd put $20 on it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind doing that at all. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. Which defense do you trust more, the Texans or the Broncos?
Texans.
I agree.
I just think they have more elite players on that roster.
Seconded there.
Yeah.
Oof.
From the 618, is it possible for college football to be mostly or all adults from the NFL in the future? Like no students whatsoever? No.
No. That's what we call the XFL.
Yeah.
They won't do that. I would imagine they'll stop it at that point, right?
You will never get to that point, ever.
From Vizzini, do you think that the next homestand attendance would be a good barometer for how Cardinals fans are believing in the new Cardinals? The next homestand, let's take a look at who they play. I haven't looked that far ahead. I've been focused on this Phillies series. So you've got a midweek series against Baltimore. That's not going to draw very well. And then you've got a weekend series with kids right back in school for the first time against Pittsburgh. I wouldn't use that as my barometer personally.
No, I don't think you can really use anything the rest of the season as the barometer to how much the fans buy in. I guess if they make the playoffs, you can use that as a barometer, but we've had that argument with T-Bone already to where I feel like that's going to be a packed stadium if there's playoffs. But now this is the hard time of the year because now you've got kids back to school, people back to work, schedules are back to normalcy. And then, I mean, I know it sounds weird because baseball does dominate all, but you are transitioning into football season and then hockey season. So I don't think you can really judge this as the barometer.
I'm with you guys, but don't forget there is that special Joshua Baez shirt giveaway. Oh, yeah.
314.
They had the Walker home run or the shirt giveaway, and I don't think that really did much.
Maybe not.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. From the 314, question for BK. What's your favorite pizza spot in Kansas City? I'm heading there this weekend for a family thing. I'm a Minsky's guy. That would be my favorite KC style, not KC style, but like KC specific pizza spot. There's no such thing as a Kansas City style pizza, but yeah, that would be my go-to. Would be Minsky's in Kansas City. Our guy T-Bone is in KC this weekend. He went to a few different spots yesterday. Said he's having a great time out there.
There you go.
There you go.
He's enjoying his little vacation out in KC.
A few weeks ago, did I do it right, BK? Father's Day weekend by visiting Gates barbecue-wise.
BK hates Gates.
That's not true.
It was a very good dining experience all the way around. Good dining experience.
Gates like the actual barbecue itself is like not in my top 5.
Okay.
Gates is a spot that you have to experience. Though.
Yeah.
It is a classic Kansas City down home barbecue experience. They shout at you the moment that you walk through the door.
Did you have anxiety when you were ordering?
You should. That's part of the experience.
They stare at you.
But Gates itself, the barbecue's solid. So yeah, you did it right. That's typically one of my go-tos if I'm coming home from like a baseball game, football game, something like that. It's a good spot because they're open a little later than many of the others as well.
True.
But yeah, I've got like probably 5 to 10 other spots that I would like. If you're really recommending, hey, going to Kansas City, trying to get the best barbecue possible, showing off for some of my friends or something, there are other spots that I would recommend for something like that.
Fair enough. Really good experience though. On the whole, yeah.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Ask Us Anything. From the 386. Guys have been in and out of the car. Have we talked about the captain of the Blues or lack thereof? And what about the TV deal for the season? We got no update for you on the TV deal.
Just the TV deal is going to be available to you just like the Cardinals games have been available to you. You're going to have to wait till like the week before the season begins.
On the lack thereof with a captain, Alex, anything there?
Not that I've heard of. A lot of these guys aren't back yet. Like, if you're hoping Robert Thomas is going to be the captain or want him to be the captain, he doesn't come back to St. Louis till the end of August. So, like, they're not... If they name one, they'll name it prior to the start of training camp. If we get to training camp and they haven't named one, I don't think you'll see a captain this year. But my guess, my gut... is you'll see a captain named the first or second week of September because I don't believe they're going into a season without a captain.
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for Ask Us Anything. From Brickhouse Gang, are you guys fantasy football guys? And if so, thoughts on an in-person draft versus a slow draft? I vastly prefer in-person if you can make it work for everybody in your draft.
I can tell you what I don't like.
Yes, we are all fantasy football people.
I don't like a fast draft. BK showed us what that felt like a couple of years ago. 5 seconds to make picks.
Yeah, I made a mistake.
I always prefer in person. That's the ones we always do, not the station, but the ones I always do with my buddies and then my family. We always get together for an in-person one with the whole board, drinks, things like that. So
it's not the same when you're trying to give your boys the business remotely. It's just not the same.
Well, yeah, there is no business that you give. It's just you're sending text the whole time and nobody cares.
From the 417. So, BK, what is the number one barbecue spot, in your opinion, in Kansas City? This is something that'll start fights in families in Kansas City. But for me, I would personally go with Joe's Casey. That would be my top spot. Go there, go to the original spot in the gas station, order yourself a Z-Man, get a side of fries. You will be very happy. I'm very confident. It's one of my favorite sandwiches I've ever had. So, yeah, I would go there. That would be my number one go-to. If you've got a group that is more like they don't want to get down and dirty with their barbecue, they want more of a dining experience, like a sit-down type of a restaurant, Jack Stack, I think, is very good. Q39 does a good job as well. I've heard some other places that are a little more on the newer side of things, like Harps, I've heard is very good as well. Never personally been, but I've heard good things. Chef J is a new one in town as well that I've heard some good things about. And then another one that I personally would recommend to people that are coming into town is Slaps. So there's a bunch of different options, man. KC has some great barbecue spots. I've always said this. I think St. Louis is underrated when it comes to barbecue. There are just fewer of them. Mm-hmm. There are some really good spots in town. There are just like 3 to 5 that I would highly recommend to people that are coming here. The difference in KC is not necessarily the top end echelon. It's there are 20 that are all roughly the same quality that you can get here in St. Louis. That's my personal recommendation. All right, 314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. You can also check us out over on YouTube at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. Coming up next, it's our weekly conversation with our guy, former NHL goalie Mike McKenna here on 101 ESPN.
The Redbird Report, your front row seat to all things Cardinals. From the dugout to the diamond, BK and T-Bone go deep with the latest news, notes, and analysis. Watch the Redbird Report on YouTube or listen online at 101ESPN.com. KXOS, WXOS, HD1 East St. Louis, 101 ESPN is driven by Brown and Krugman Law Firm. This is exactly where you want to be listening to us. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. We're going between the pipes with former NHL goaltender Mike McKenna.
How do you like me now?
Between the Pipes is refreshed by Macadoodle Spirits, fine wine, beer, and cigars. Now open in Darden Prairie.
Alongside Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. Happy to go back out to the Kiley and Thompson hotline to be joined by our friend, former NHL goalie, the man that joins us each and every Friday on behalf of Macadoodles. It's Mike McKenna joining us via the Kiley and Thompson hotline. Mike, how you doing today, man?
Gentlemen, great. All I want to know is, when can we be back inside Centene and be face-to-face? Give me an answer, guys.
What, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think the week of training camp is when we are going to be out there. So that first week of training camp. So what is that, the third week of September?
Dude, you would know this better than me.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's when my life shifts back to what it usually is. Yeah, the third week of September. So I think we're about 4 weeks away from where we're out there.
Wait, the third week of September or the third day of September?
Third week of September.
Okay, that's when training camp begins?
because the Blues and Brews is on the 19th. The first preseason game's on the 20th, so my guess is the 17th.
I thought you said the 3rd of September.
No, the third week of September. So
the first preseason game is the 19th.
Yeah, so the Blues and Brews is the 18th, so we'll probably be out there on the 16th for media day and training camp.
Which is exactly what I was hoping for, and it's also a time for me to bunker in and actually watch a little hockey live. But the thing is, like, the last 2 weeks, I've been inundated. So this is actually kind of a stressful time in the youth hockey scene in St. Louis, because all the kids are going through evaluations. And I think at this point, just about every organization is done. So, you're just like, it's nerve-wracking when you do this stuff, because you want the kids to be in the right place, but everybody's got dreams, they've got hopes, they've got ambitions. And, until you get these teams situated for the youth hockey schedule, man, like, people are just on pins and needles. So I know, like, even we're in Kirkwood Youth Hockey, we've got our big icebreaker party, which happens in Kirkwood Park every Saturday once the teams are picked. And man, it's like, we're talking like 1,000 people in Kirkwood Park. Like, it's just so fun to get this going at the youth hockey level. We're so excited for it.
And I would imagine excited for that, and just excited to get this season going. And, Mike, we've been talking just a little bit about how this roster is shaping up. And actually on the podcast, we got into the conversation of, just the roster itself and the internal competitions. In years past, they've always brought in some PTOs, and Steen has talked about his value on internal competition. When you look at this roster, do you feel like there's areas for maybe bringing in some PTO players, or going after maybe some type of player you could sign for cheap to really upgrade that internal competition on the forward side, or maybe the defensive side?
Oh, I think on the forward side, they've already done it. I think Dylan Dubé is the answer for that internal competition. Bit of a wild card here. Was a pretty good player with Calgary previously, spent the last year in Springfield in the American League. Obviously looking to bounce back to the NHL, where he's contributed previously. Where does he stack up in the lineup? You got him signed on a one-way. It's not a big contract, but he's got $850 in his pocket this year. You got Nathan Walker, who's in the mix. You've got Ross Johnston that's there. I mean, who's to say Jonathan Berggren's not in the mix too? So I think there's a lot that already exists within the Blues organization. Otto Stenberg was right off the bat with the team. Same thing with Justin Carbonneau. To me, the PTOs, if you can get somebody that's got an opportunity, they have to blow somebody out of the water to make a team, or injuries. And injuries are always what you're scared of. You look at Columbus Blue Jackets just lost goaltender Elvis Merzlikins for an indefinite amount of time. And I don't think that was expected. So when you're trying to fill these gaps, you're doing it with eyes to the future. And there's still some players out there. Like, I don't know. There's one name out there I keep questioning. And I don't think I would ever see a return, but Vladimir Tarasenko doesn't have a team right now, guys. Where does he land? What does it look like? Is it a contract? Is it a PTO with somebody? Would the Blues even entertain giving him an opportunity again here? I don't know where he would fit.
I don't think so.
That's the type of player. No, I don't think so either. But that's the type of player But that's exactly the type of player, though, that needs a home, guys.
I'll tell you the one that
I'm desperate, you know.
I'll tell you the one that I brought up, Mike, Patrick Laine. And I don't think it would make any sense for this team because I don't think you want to bring in somebody who has had, issues kind of on and off the ice over the last couple of years. But every time I see the name, it just becomes even, I'll call it the Mike Hoffman effect, to where you see it and you're like, well, damn, it'd be nice to get 40 goals playing your second or third line. But I don't think it makes any sense for the Blues.
No, I don't either. And I played with Mike Hoffman and had some interesting experience with him. Nice guy. I tell you what, though, that guy really got a bad rap for no reason. Like, his contract valuation got crushed for things completely out of his control that were not true, and it really bothered me. Nice enough guy, but it was a perfect example of how perception is not always reality, but it sure is when it comes to things. And that was a tough bounce for Mike because he was a good player that got caught up with something that was not involved with him or his fault. But I don't see Laine fitting in. I see the internal competition of this team being real for the Blues. And the players that looked good last year at times, again, like Berggren, Stenberg, they're knocking on the door here. And to have somebody like a Carbonneau, who I really do believe he's going to have moments, at least early in the season, whether it's in training camp or maybe he even sticks around at the beginning, that I think he's going to turn some heads just on skill alone as that works. So I'm curious to see it from the internal standpoint of what this looks like, because there's a lot of names right now. It just doesn't – the pieces all don't fit right now where everybody is in the lineup.
What do you mean by that?
I look at the top four lines, and, I don't know if I could pencil in – I don't care what Ross Johnston's contract looks like. I don't know if I can pencil him into the starting lineup for the Blues. This is – I don't like to call people one-dimensional, but this is a guy you're bringing in for some heft. He can play. He's okay. He's okay with that. But
he should be a starter, though, if he's got a 3-year deal, right?
Well, should. But is that just the changing dynamics of today's game? That's my biggest question. And is he going to be in the lineup midway through the season? What if Carbonneau looks incredible? What if Stenberg or anybody else comes in and all of a sudden it makes that player look a little redundant in the lineup? Where's Nathan Walker going to slot in? So I'm the contract valuation of today's game, even if you're at $2 or $3 million, to me, doesn't mean anything, which is kind of wild to think of, because it's not going to look good if a player like that's out of the lineup. You don't want $2-3 million watching a hockey game. But I think that's starting to turn into today's reality, is that from team to team, who you're playing against, you need different bullets in the chamber, and that might be what the Blues go after this season.
Well, and I remember the conversation, BK, we had with Jeff Merrick, to where he brought up the point of why you give Ross Johnston that contract. He said those enforcers, they want security, knowing that they're not out there competing to play their role, and that's what it is. And I'm with you, Mike. Like, I look at Ross Johnston as a guy that I think you're going to see him in spot starts. I think you're going to see him match up against teams like Minnesota, teams like Dallas. But when they play teams like Colorado or Edmonton, that's not going to be a Ross Johnston game. And that's why I kind of look at the competition as two different tiers. I look at guys that are competing for those fourth line spots, like Walker, like a Jack Finley, like a Dylan Peterson, along with Johnston and Toropchenko. And then I look at Berggren and Pius Suter with Carbonneau fighting for those third line roster spots to provide some offense.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, if I'm Pius Suter, I'm nervous right now. I think he's in a bit of a precarious position. I actually don't think Jack Finley is in a very precarious position, because I really liked what he did on the fourth line last year.
Yeah, and I think they love him on that penalty kill too.
Exactly. And when you get a player that you know is going to play hard-nosed minutes, that you picked up you picked him up off waivers from Tampa because they didn't have space. Tampa's a good organization, guys. Like, really good organization. And like, their scouting, their drafting, how they develop, they know what they're looking at. They were not happy to lose Jack Finley, but it was just the reality of that situation. Pius Suter isn't a fourth line guy that's going to do the same things that Jack Finley can. So that third line spot, man, you got a lot of people gunning for Suter right now, from Dvorsky to on down the list. So I think there's real flux there. I think your top two lines are probably pretty set. Holloway, Thomas, Snuggerud, you can bank on that. I do really like the look of McMichael, McTavish, Buchnevich, if that's how that lines up, knowing you could also slot in Neighbors or Dvorsky on that too. But I think the third line is really where things are in flux for this team, and it's definitely not set in stone.
All right, Mike, looks like it's going to be a beautiful weekend this weekend in St. Louis. A lot of kids either starting school this week, having their first week back at home, or starting school next week with their final weekend around the family. A lot of parents, I would assume, looking for that next six-pack, maybe some whiskey to be able to enjoy. Somebody actually on the text line earlier today, Mike asked, hey, what would Macadoodle Mike recommend for whiskey while we watch this crazy, weird St. Louis Cardinals team? So when people walk through the door this weekend, what should they expect over at Macadoodles?
You probably want something really high proof, I think, so it would get the job done in a hurry. I mean, who knows what you're watching there from night to night. But, we just had a new Whistle Pig barrel pick drop. It's a 10-year rye whiskey. We picked it ourselves. It's just fantastic. 114 proof, $75, guys, for a 10-year rye. Outstanding price. We've also got another Ruby Port finish 10-year whiskey from Art of the Spirits. It's another barrel pick that just came into us. So you've got two great whiskeys to choose from there. We do have some allocated stuff this weekend. We've got some Weller 12 that's hitting the shelves. We've also got another bundle on some Eagle Rare that's going to be in our building. We never charge secondary. We occasionally will bundle things, but it's never with junk. It's not with Fireball or Wheatley. It's usually with another whiskey if we do it for an MSRP on the whiskey. We also just rebuilt our Build-A-Six in craft beer. So we're really happy about this. We got it worked out. So any 12-ounce beer you can build a sixer on. But we're also offering a mix-and-match 12 and 16-ounce beer. And those 16-ounce beer, for all those craft nerds out there, you guys know that's what you're looking for, 4 packs of craft. You can now do that in a Build-A-Six in our store. You can get 6 of those for $19, which is a steal. So we're super happy about that. The wine room's got some great tastings this weekend as well. We still have our buy one, get one for $1 in wine. So there's great deals. There's new barrel picks here at Macadoodles. Come see us. We're just north of the Page Extension at Bryan and Feisey Road. I'm in the building until 4:30. I'll be here tomorrow morning. Come in and talk hockey. I'm happy to do that. I need it, guys. I'm ready for hockey. Give it to me. So we'll see you at Macadoodles this weekend.
It's just around the corner. Mike, appreciate the time as always, man. All the best. We'll talk with you again next week.
Sounds good, guys. Have a great weekend. Be safe, everybody, and we'll be in the rinks before we know it here.
Thanks, Mike.
That's Mike McKenna joining us as he does each and every Friday here on BK and Ferrario. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll dive into some NFL quick hitters. But next, we're not the only ones talking about a potential Leo Bernal call-up. It has now made its way to the national level. We'll tell you about it next year on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN has your chance to win tickets for AC/DC with very special guest, the Foo Fighters, September 8th at the Dome at America Center. St. Louis. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
There's at least a chance today's an active day for the Cardinals when it comes to roster moves. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but I would anticipate at least a move or two when it comes to the bullpen. I don't think you will see Leo Bernal get that call today. But MLB Pipeline, Alex, wrote about the prospect with a potential call-up for each team across Major League Baseball down the stretch. For the Cardinals, they said Leo Bernal is that guy. They wrote the following. St. Louis has too many catchers as is, and ideally you'd want Bernal getting everyday reps to prioritize his development. But that said, the 22-year-old switch-hitting backstop has already set a new career high with 15 home runs at AAA. He's been impressive with a .320 average since the start of July, and he has pop times that hover around 1.8 seconds, which are impressive for a player of his age. And he also has an arm that would play at the major league level immediately upon his arrival. Bernal is a solid mix of contact, swing decisions, and exit velocities, which should ease the transition to if and when he's given the chance. That all comes from MLB Pipeline writing about Cardinals' top catching prospect, Leo Bernal. Alex, would you consider making that switch sooner rather than later with him and possibly Jimmy Crooks?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's nothing wrong with looking at Jimmy Crooks and saying, there's some things you still need to work on. And, need to work on it at the major league level. Let's send you back to AAA and get your confidence back. When we talked with Rob Serfolio, we were talking about, a guy like Nolan Gorman and how, it's sending him back to AAA and just kind of getting your head right and looking at the mechanics that you're off on, and the trust that you have in the Cardinals organization in terms of working with these guys. I just think Jimmy Crooks looks outmatched at times at the plate. Like, he just can't even make contact. He's striking out. You're not providing much on the defensive side of things. Why not give it a shot to Leo Bernal? Like, you're playing more of Pedro Pages. There was a sweet spot about a month ago to where it felt like we were seeing a lot of Jimmy Crooks and maybe like once a week seeing Pedro Pages. That's the routine you should be in with the catchers that you have. And if Jimmy Crooks has fallen out of grace, then put Leo Bernal in that spot. Now, he is crushing the baseball just like Jimmy Crooks was, but it's been in a longer sample size than what Crooks was. Crooks was what?
Also, there's a difference between the way that Crooks was going about it with that high swing and miss number versus Leo Bernal, who is more of a patient hitter and seems to make better swing decisions. So that's a big part of this as well.
And he's been there for 94 games now, and he's just gradually gotten better. Like last season, he was really good in AA, and he got better in AAA this year. So you've done this with a lot of guys this season. You did it with Blaze Jordan. You did it with Nathan Church, who I know was injured at the time. You've shown it with certain individuals. I just think it's a matter of time to just look at it and say, look, Leo Bernal is great in AAA. There's not much else he can prove to us there. Let's give him Jimmy Crooks' reps, go back to only seeing Pages once a week, and put Crooks down in AAA so he can work on whatever he needs to work on.
HCH Outdoors says, I love how people change the dates to make the stats look a little better. You don't have to do that with Leo Bernal. On the season, he's batting .280 with an .840 OPS. He's been awesome. In the last 28 days, though, just to show you kind of recently how he's trending, he's batting .310 with an OPS of about .870.
And how much is he striking out?
He has 17 strikeouts in his last 65 at-bats. Strikeouts are not a problem for Leo Bernal.
And
it's like 20-ish% when it comes to that. And as a switch hitter, as Alex mentioned, he doesn't have significant splints on either side of the plate. Now, he's a little better as a lefty against right-handed pitching, but he's good from both sides. He just has a little bit more pop from the left side than he does from the right side. But he's really good on both sides. .850 OPS as a lefty, .805 OPS as a righty. He's a true switch hitter, at least he has been so far in his career.
Leo Bernal is in the same spot that Jimmy Crooks was. Now, he's a little bit younger, but he's in the position to where it's like you've seen him in AAA, and at some point you want to see what you've got and if it translates to the major league level. And I just don't know what else you're hoping for with Leo Bernal. He doesn't strike out a lot. He showcases his power. He's good behind the plate. You mentioned his pop time. What else do you need to see of that to bring it to the majors and say, let's see how this translates versus just keep throwing Jimmy Crooks out there at a very slim rate because he's only going out there against, left-handed pitchers? You're only seeing him against that, and then you're seeing more Pedro Pajes. I would be calling up Leo Bernal for this series.
From the 618. Guys, Bernal will not be added to the 40-man this year because there's a possibility of a lockout. He will not be added to the 40-man because he is already on the 40-man roster.
Gotcha.
He has already been added to the 40-man as a guy that I believe was eligible for the Rule 5 draft this past season, if I'm not mistaken. So that is not a consideration for them. He would be somebody that would just get the call up, get the activation to the 26-man roster, but he's already on the 40-man. The other 40-man options in AAA right now are Nolan Gorman, Cesar Prieto, Thomas Sajaci, and Victor Scott II. So if they do decide to call somebody up, whether it's this weekend or probably more likely on September 1st, those are the most likely candidates to be called up. The other one to keep in mind, and I wonder if this is something that they potentially do going into this weekend, Ramon Urias is still going through his rehab stint down at AAA right now. He will be eligible to come back basically at any point, and I think he's got like 4 or 5 days left that are possible for him on that rehab stint. So if you wanted to add him at some point in the next few days, you could also do that.
My guess is he's going to be the one that gets called up on that off day after
That
Philly
makes sense,
before they come home, and they'll let Blaze play a little bit more at third base.
Something to keep into consideration, though, is that I think they've got a lefty this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So that's another consideration, is because they're going up against some left-handed pitchers. Do they want him in the lineup? Going this weekend, you've got Christopher Sanchez, that'll be a left-handed starter, and Luzardo tonight as well. So 2 of the next 3 starters you're going against will be lefties.
Yeah. We saw them adapt to that with the Cubs series once they found out that they were going to get another righty instead of the lefty, that they called up Josh Baez for that Saturday game.
So it's possible at least that you would see maybe an opportunity there for him. That's also maybe another reason why you would call up Leo Bernal this weekend.
Yeah.
Because he could give you that righty bat behind the plate instead of going to Jimmy Crooks, and it becomes a decision of Pajes versus Leo Bernal.
I just think of, in terms of hitters, he's the last one that Cardinals fans need to see this season to find out what he looks like and how he translates to the major leagues. And I think that's going to help you make some decisions going into this offseason if there's baseball. Like, you've seen Jimmy Crooks. You know Ivan Herrera is a core piece of this. You've got enough sample size of Pedro Pajes. Give yourself a good 30 games of Leo Bernal behind the plate and find out if one of those guys becomes a trade asset for you.
From the 636 on Wednesday's Baseball America podcast, Jeff Ponce mentioned that he believes the Cardinals' untradeable prospects are Rainiel Rodriguez, Leo Bernal, and Tanner Franklin. Do you guys agree? And who would you add or remove? I would not view Leo Bernal as untradeable.
I wouldn't either.
In part because of Rainiel Rodriguez. Like, if you think Rodriguez is going to stick at catcher and you trust that Jimmy Crooks can be a catcher for you, or you're good with Pedro Pajes as a backup, and I think he's a fine backup long-term as long as you have a true number one, I would not view Leo Bernal as an untouchable, depending upon what you're able to get for him. Like, if you could go out and get Logan Gilbert for Leo Bernal, I don't think that's something that the Mariners would do, but just in a hypothetical scenario. Yeah, I mean, I would listen on Leo Bernal. Rodriguez is a guy I wouldn't touch. Tanner Franklin seems like a potential stud front end of the rotation starter. Yeah, I'm probably not trading him. I would add Liam Doyle to that list.
I was going to say, where was he?
And I think that's probably it. As truly untouchables.
I agree with that.
I would basically listen on anybody else, but it all depends on what another team's willing to offer you.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Liam Doyle, to me, has to be on there because of the draft stock that you invested into it and, frankly, what he profiles as. I even think I'd be listening on Tanner Franklin. If I'm going to upgrade my rotation and go out there and get a legit number one, for your example of Logan Gilbert, I think the only guys that I'm not trading are Liam Doyle or Rainiel Rodriguez. Everything else was on the table.
Quickly, guys, given the relative uncertainty in center moving forward, how much would a Trevor Condon have to show you next year to work his way onto that list?
I think you're so far away that if I can upgrade in other areas now, I'm going to make that move.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But it's got to be a big trade. I'm not just moving these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it's got to be a
there's
number one.
probably a move where I would trade Liam Doyle. It's incredibly unlikely to be presented to the Cardinals, but if they could get the equivalent of what the Red Sox did, for real.
Yeah, give me Paul Skeens and I'll give you Doyle.
If you get a stud number one starter that has control, I'll trade Liam Doyle for the guy that's already ready-made.
Sure.
But you're unlikely to get that move. The other team probably wouldn't be incentivized to do it. So it's unlikely to be presented to you. But this is where, like, the untradeable thing is always tough. Rainiel Rodriguez, I'm not moving.
Correct.
Like, just flat out, I'm not trading that guy because I think he has the potential to be special as soon as next year. I saw a piece from MLB.com. They had one of their prospects writers, Jesse Borick, who wrote about this. You know I love my lists, Alex. We got to get it open for something like this.
I'm telling you.
He wrote this earlier today over on MLB.com. Dating back to 2006, just 6 players have hit 15 or more home runs at AA before turning 20 years old.
And here's the list.
That list includes Giancarlo Stanton, Fernando Tatis Jr., Jackson Chourio, Leo DeVry, who did that this year, and then Samuel Basallo, who is doing it this year as well. He adds that when you look at that list and what they were ultimately able to accomplish, those other guys were not as successful at the AA level as what you've seen from Rainiel Rodriguez this year. Like, he's been better than the other guys that have accomplished this feat at his same age. Yeah, I'm good. I'm not trading that guy. It's not happening, man. He's too special for me.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even you said, like, Liam Doyle, I would listen to if I'm advancing it, but that's a very unlikely scenario. And Liam Doyle's somebody that I'd say that's an untouchable. But yeah, everything else is on the table. And I know center field is a position that I think a lot of people say is a big hole, me included. I'll figure that out. But if I got to trade a prospect that's 4 or 5 years away for somebody that helps my roster now, because the thing that you'll have to recognize is Herrera and Walker and Weatherholt and Burleson are all in that time frame. And if you get Rodriguez up here by next year and he translates well to the major leagues, and if Baez is still continuing to develop, man, your roster is set. And at some point, you're going to have to go out there and just push your chips in to try and capitalize on the window you're in right now.
Text line from the 314. Would you guys trade Rodriguez for Tatis Jr.? No.
Why would I do that?
I wouldn't do it. I'm not interested. I'm good.
Plus, Rodriguez might be able to play third base. Tatis is what, at corner outfield, second baseman for you? I don't know if he's playing shortstop anymore.
The list of players I would potentially trade him for include.
Here's the list.
Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay.
PCA.
No, I don't want that guy.
Kevin McGonigal.
Yeah.
James Wood.
Yeah.
Junior Caminero.
Yeah.
Nick Kurtz.
Yep.
Christopher Sanchez.
Yep.
Jacob Mizorowski.
Yep. Paul Skeens?
Probably.
I'd trade him for
Only
Paul
3
Skeens.
years of club control makes that one a little tougher.
Still, I'd trade for him and just lock him up.
Paul Skeens now?
I might not, to be honest with you.
I get it.
Because of only 3 years of club control. Now, Liam Doyle for Skeens, I would do. Rodriguez, where I've got more certainty with the position player. There's just so much risk with pitchers.
I get it.
That one would be tough for me. Corbin Carroll, I'd do. Jackson Churrio's an interesting one. I think that's probably where, like, I'm out. I think from there in down, I probably would just stick with what I have. But there's like 10-ish
About
players.
Jackson Merrill?
No. I think that you have a potentially better hitter at their major league level with more control. So I'm good.
But he plays center field.
I know. Rodriguez can potentially play third base for you. We'll see.
Have you watched his swing over the last year plus? Not the same guy who won Rookie of the Year.
Rodriguez or Merrill?
Merrill.
Yeah. I legitimately think the list is about 10 to 15 players long on who I would trade Rainiel Rodriguez for right now in the major leagues. And that's because of age, it's because of contract, it's because of control, all of those different things, along with God-given ability.
They called him the damn Hulk. I'm not trading the Hulk for that. You're not going to be in the Avengers movie and trade the Hulk you're only trading the Hulk for Thanos, right? Even though Thanos lost.
Spoiler. Alongside Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. In 15 minutes, we'll dive into the junk drawer. NFL quick hitters next here on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN is powered by Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
You can now watch 101 ESPN live on our Air Alliance Team Studio Cams. Catch every show live on our YouTube channel or at 101ESPN.com. 101 ESPN Studio Cams.
Presented by the Air Alliance Team Heating and Cooling. Getting the job done quickly, correctly, 100% of the time.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Cards continue chaotic stretch. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns. Your Sports Center update is powered by Universal Windows Direct. Right-hander Hunter Dobbins presumably taking the mound today as St. Louis opens a weekend series in Philadelphia. Cardinals Phillies first pitch set for 5:40 p.m. STL just took 3 of 5 from Cincinnati, moving to 2.5 games behind that final wild card spot. BMW Championship Round 2 underway with J.J. Spahn atop Belle Reeves leaderboard. Meanwhile, Mizzou's fall camp concluding. Tomorrow's scrimmage gives head coach Eli Drinkwitz another look at new QB1 Austin Simmons.
We want Austin to be uniquely him and uniquely himself. He's got a skill set that is different than anybody that I've coached here as far as arm strength and arm talent. And he's going to have to establish his identity as a leader, as a vocal leader, as a competitor.
This Sports Center update was delivered by Universal Windows Direct. You'll be saying, I love my windows.
Giving you the picture, the real big St. Louis sports picture. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
With Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. Time for some NFL quick hitters. Let's start out with the NFC. Yesterday, we talked about the AFC, the projections from Austin Mock over at The Athletic. He's got a model. He looks into how many games each team he believes they're going to win in 2026. In the NFC, Alex, have you seen this yet?
I have not seen this. I like
Who
to
do
stay
you
away
think
from
is
lists.
number one on the NFC side of things? Most wins in 2026.
This is the easiest question you've ever asked. The Rams.
Number 2?
Seahawks?
Yes. Number 3?
Ooh, this one.
You're 2 for 2 so far.
This is where it gets tough for me. My gut's saying either the Eagles or the Lions. I'll go with the Eagles.
Eagles are indeed number 3. Can you guess number 4? You're on a roll right now, Alex.
Oh, God. Boy. The Lions, no. I don't think the Vikings would be up there because of Kyler Murray. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Ooh,
no?
Man, you missed it. You should have trusted your gut.
Is it the Lions?
Lions are tied for 4th along with one other team. Can you guess it? Final one here. Let's see how you do. No, Bradford, he's on a roll. Don't you do it. I'll let you get it if you could steal the point if he misses this.
Okay. Lions tied with the Niners.
He crushed it. Yeah! He absolutely crushed it.
I should have never trusted the Cowboys.
Top 5 in the NFC, according to Austin Mock of The Athletic. 1, the Rams. 2, the Seahawks. 3, the Eagles. 4, the 49ers. And the Lions tied at 10 wins apiece. Do you think that's right? Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
49ers, really, number 4 in the NFC.
I'm skeptical of the 49ers and the Lions, but I trust both of their coaches and their elite playmakers. Like, we're talking Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs. We're talking Christian McCaffrey.
We trust the 49ers more than the Bears or the Cowboys.
I trust Kyle Shanahan more.
Okay.
I trust Kyle Shanahan
He's
more.
Kind of like this, though.
I know, but I trust him. So is Dak, though. Like, Dak to me, I think so.
Dak's been consistent. Their defense has been terrible.
Their defense has been terrible, but if you lose a offensive weapon, can you remain consistent? And that's one of CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens. And
consistent
if you lose
in
one
the
of them,
regular season.
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
Very
We're
fair.
not talking about playoff success here. We're talking about who's going to be the best in the regular season.
Who else did you say? Cowboys and who?
I like the Bears.
Bears are a year away from me getting to that point. I think Ben Johnson's a little too excited. Caleb Williams still makes some weird decisions for me to believe that that's an 11-win team. And their defense, I just don't think is as good as the 49ers.
I think this is a 2-team race at the top. Seahawks and Rams, not in that order. I've got Rams then Seahawks, to be clear. But I think those are still the 2 best teams in the conference until proven otherwise. 3 is where I think it gets really interesting. And, man, I think it's a race between the Cowboys, the Eagles, 49ers, Lions, if you want to throw them in there, Bears, Vikings. I think all of those teams are potentially in contention for that spot.
I'll tell you the one that I'd kick out is I'd kick the Eagles out. I'd move the Cowboys in before the Eagles.
I don't know what to do with them.
I just
think
don't
their
trust
defense
it.
is going to be so good, man. That's the thing that makes me nervous about discounting them. I think their defense has a chance to be like third or fourth best in the league. Like if you told me Seahawks versus Eagles on the defensive side of the football this year, it's close for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. The offense is where I'm skeptical. And I know A.J. Brown hasn't been good for them, but he at least still was an option that you'd have to take care of, which opened it up for Devontae Smith. I don't know what Saquon is. And Jalen is just so up and down for me as well that I think I would have the Cowboys above the Eagles.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about Jalen Hurts, and rightfully so, but the hub around which the entire offense revolves, when you're right, is Saquon Barkley. How much do you believe in him having a tremendous bounce-back season there? I do wonder if the NFC West this coming season cannibalizes itself to the point where maybe Seattle or San Francisco isn't in that top four. I'm not as sold on Seattle sustaining defensive bona fides aside. I'm not sold even on Seattle being several games, a couple of games ahead of San Francisco, honestly, in the West. Once again, the NFC South is a complete non-entity, but I'm perhaps most fascinated, guys, by the North because everybody wants Detroit to succeed. You know about that, but beyond that, the next rung down, I'm very bullish on Chicago, and I like the Ben Johnson there and Caleb Williams. They have said, all right, put that target on our backs. We want all of the smoke. We're going for all of the records. And you also still, BK, I'm not going to discount Green Bay and your boy Jordan Love. I still think that team is in the mix. No, I do.
You can stop now.
It's in the mix.
Discount him.
It's in the mix.
They have one person to throw through, and Jordan Love stinks.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. But I think this is a step back year for Green Bay. And then next year they push again. They're probably going to be without their best player, in my opinion, and Micah Parsons for at least a couple of months. The defense, I think, is okay, but it's not great. And the offense, I have no idea what the situation is going to be with Josh Jacobs early in the season, who's running the ball for them. That's an open-ended question. Their top receivers are not what they were a year ago. It's very thin in that area. They have less depth on the offensive line. Yeah. Some of the guys that filled in for them last year are no longer there. I just think they're a team that's in a transition phase right now. It felt like they were kind of all in with Micah Parsons last year, and now it feels like we're taking a step back before we push again in 2027.
I think that NFC North to me is Lions, Bears, then the Vikings. And the Vikings can maybe push the Bears out.
Man, the Vikings to me, I can't quit them.
I know, man.
The Vikings are this year what the Packers were for me a year ago. Mm-hmm. I'm very interested in that.
And in both scenarios, the quarterback stunk.
I don't feel like he stinks.
I do.
Does the NFC North have the best group of quarterbacks in the league? Is that where we're at?
I guess it comes down to how you feel about Jalen Daniels. Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Dak Prescott in the NFC.
NFC East. Is that better than the AFC West?
If Jackson Dart can become a star, hey.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
No, we're out on that one. Well, I mean, you know my thoughts on Bo Nix. Bo Pix is never going to be in that conversation. I think Justin Herbst dropped a little bit. Mendoza's unknown. So, yeah, I don't even think the AFC
North, NFC East, and AFC West. I think those are the top three.
I don't think the AFC. I think the AFC West is probably third there.
Really?
Yeah.
With Mahomes?
Just because beyond
Mahomes is the
Mahomes,
best of this group.
For sure, but beyond Mahomes, it drops off. Like, I don't trust
Herbert's
Herbert.
Good.
He's fine. I'd have Hurts. Like, if I'm going off of the NFC East right now, Hurts and Herbert are probably in the same category for me.
Okay, Dak and Herbert for sure.
I'd take Dak over Bo Pix any day of the week, and then you're going Jaden Daniels and Fernando Mendoza.
Okay.
They've got the best, the AFC West. There's no question. I think I would go AFC East.
AFC East? You mean NFC East?
Josh Allen and Drake May account for a lot.
Yeah, NFC East, AFC East, and then probably AFC West.
You'd go AFC East.
Yeah.
Even though they have two teams that have terrible quarterback situations.
I think Josh Allen and Drake May, though, are probably going to be two of the best in the AFC.
Okay. I just think the other two are so bad that I'm good. Count me out. They have two teams that aren't trying in 2026.
Yeah, but I'd take those two. I mean, I'd argue the same thing for the NFC North. Kyler Murray and Jordan Love are just non-components to me, and then you got Jared Goff and Caleb Williams. So I'd take the AFC East over the NFC North. So AFC
I think Goff
East,
is good.
AFC
I think
West.
Goff is in that category of that third tier.
Yeah, but I'd still think that Allen and May raise the standards in that, where I'd rather have that division than the NFC
North. You're looking
North.
more at the top as opposed to the floor.
Looking at quality over quantity.
Maybe this is the best. The NFC North has the greatest quantity of solid to good quarterbacks.
I agree with that.
Because every team has at least a guy that you think is pretty good. You know, like even if you disagree, Alex, on my belief in Kyler or in Jordan Love, those guys are at least solid. Like they are respectable NFL caliber starting quarterbacks. I'm not sure I don't think there's another division that has all of that. Unless you believe in the AFC West and what Fernando Mendoza is going to be as a rookie starter for the Raiders this season. That's the one team that I think you could potentially, one division at least, that could potentially go into this category as well.
Yeah.
Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, it's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Wanted to get to one other thing. This is Joe Burrow, Alex, yesterday after practice, asked by the media about how he views the 2026 campaign. Take a listen.
I'm trying to put it out into the world. I'm trying to manifest it. I'm trying to show our guys the urgency that I have and that I want us to have as an organization to go and make it happen. You can keep pushing it down the road, or you can talk about it now and say this is the year. And I'm tired of saying next year. This is it. Life is too short to keep pushing things down the road, and I'm trying to instill some urgency and some intensity in everybody to go and be great every day and try to go make it happen.
Sure sounds like a guy that is... Well, two ways to look at this, Alex. You can either read into it a lot or just say, hey, he wants to win. Of course he does. Every quarterback wants to win. Given what we know about Joe Burrow, the history of the Bengals franchise, quarterbacks that have been there previously, if they don't make the playoffs this year, do you think Joe Burrow is back in Cincinnati in 2027?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I think the coach is gone before Burrow's gone. I think when you invest in the receivers like they did with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, you can't afford to let Joe Burrow go. That's your only... if you trade Burrow, you're moving on from Chase, Higgins. You're blowing that thing up.
I'm with you there because what did we say yesterday? Cincinnati at present projected for the fourth most wins in the AFC. Zach Taylor has somehow been able to outlast everybody in that division and basically across the AFC. This is it. If they stumble once more, I don't care about the additions on defense. I don't care about some of the newfangled components added there. He must succeed.
I think so, too. I wonder if he tries to force his way out, though. And I don't know how you do it, but we've seen this before. Teams operate differently than I would. I would say, Joe, you're under contract for 3 more years. You can either play for us or you don't play football. And in which case, God bless, good luck.
They did it with Trey Hendrickson last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
They basically said,
they called his bluff.
Yeah.
They tried this with Carson Palmer back in the day, and Carson Palmer said, screw it, I'll just retire. That's fine.
I'm good.
And then a year later, he came back and played for the Cardinals. I think that was the case. Cardinals or Raiders. Maybe it was the Raiders, actually, first. But regardless, I think you play hardball with him if you're the Bengals, but he's the kind of guy, he's just a different cat. I do wonder if he tries to force their hand a year from now if they're not able to get this thing done.
I could see it, but I mean...
I think they will. I think they'll make the playoffs this year.
He is the one that, if I'm the Bengals, like, I don't care if you don't want to be here, then retire, that's fine, but we're not trading you away. Like, our entire roster has been built around you.
Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK. Coming up next, time for the Junk Drawer with a quote from Travis Kelce at practice the other day that I think Alex is going to want to go ahead and take a listen to. We'll get into that next here on BK and Ferrario.
The NFL preseason is on ESPN. Sunday, Titans and Seahawks. Pre-game at 8:30, kickoff at 9. Your destination for the NFL in St. Louis is 101 ESPN. yourself to be the morning after listener of the month, and you could be selected and score a Form Energy prize pack. Sign up now at 101ESPN.com or TMASTL.com. The TMA Listener of the Month Club is presented by Form Energy. We do the work. We're right back to more of it. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. Let's open it up. The Junk Drawer is presented by Bet365. With Bet365 early payout, you win even if they lose. Get paid out instantly when your team goes up big, even if they blow the lead later. Bet365. Winning is everything.
Time to dive into the Junk Drawer. A quick update on the Mark Mitchell story, Alex. He has officially entered the transfer portal. The former All-SEC forward at Mizzou has entered the transfer portal with a no-contact tag. The expectation from everybody is basically that he will end up at Kentucky.
Just announce you're going to Kentucky.
And then it's just a matter of, is he eligible to play at Kentucky this year? And there is not only questions about that from a legal perspective, but also from an SEC perspective, as their conference commissioner is currently trying to go to court to avoid allowing another transfer, this one from the NBA, going to LSU. So, yeah. Still a long way to go before the start of the college basketball season, but the update today on Mark Mitchell is that he has been granted his temporary restraining order. As of today, he's eligible to play college basketball in 2026, and the expectation is that if he's eligible to do so, he will play at Kentucky. Not official yet, but that's the updated expectation. All right, Alex, let's dive into the Junk Drawer. Saw this from the Chiefs' Twitter account. They had Travis Kelce mic'd up at training camp at their final day of training camp. Go ahead and take a listen. I think this will particularly appeal to you.
Okay. Twas a banger. Probably still is a banger. You go to a Blink-182 concert, it's rocking. What? Back in the day? You were definitely alive, for sure. You can't say back in the day like that.
So I know that was a little tough to hear with the bet underneath it, but Bradford, you can bring that bet back up now. Travis Kelce was talking with some of his teammates about Blink-182, going to a concert. He said, hey, that's a banger. It's rocking at a Blink-182 concert. And his teammate says, never heard of him. Who's that?
How dare you?
Kelce said, come on, man. Like, you were alive when Blink-182 was still kind of doing their thing.
They're still around. It's not like they haven't. They just announced their next tour this coming summer, and they're going to be in St. Louis in August at Enterprise, and I'm going to be there. But yeah, you can't say back in the day when, like, they were around in the late 90s, early 2000s, still putting out bangers.
They released a new album, what was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah,
which
like a year and a half
performed very well with the original trio, if I'm not mistaken.
The best album when Tom DeLonge came back.
Thank you.
Like, get the hell out of here. That's such trash. I saw something the other day because Backstreet Boys were like talking about like who their ideal Super Bowl would be with them.
Oh, the halftime show?
And they said us with Blink-182.
Interesting pairing.
Well, they said it's because back in the Blink-182 got popular because they were making fun of the Backstreet Boys and all the boy bands and all the small things. And my mind just exploded to be like, oh my God, you give me Backstreet Boys and Blink-182. My wife's happy. I'm thrilled. Oh God, yeah.
Aren't the boys in the Sphere right now? Right? They had a residency.
They've been there for a while. Yeah. My wife tried to entice me to go. And I'm like,
I've
we
heard
don't
the
have the
Sphere
money.
is fantastic to see a show in.
I feel like I'd get sick.
Yeah.
I feel like my motion sickness would kick in. And
I've heard great things about it, though. I've heard it's a really pretty oh wow, they are at the Sphere and they are doing a lot.
And
they are also traveling. They're going to Germany for a while as well. It's just like over the next month, they're either here at the Sphere or in Germany at what appears to be a very large arena. Backstreet Boys are doing A-okay, man.
Yeah, they're perfectly
good
fine.
for them.
Blink-182, though. Yeah, come on. You can't say back in the day or I don't know who they are. You got it. Come on, man. Get your pop culture in order right now.
What would be your ideal Super Bowl halftime show? Who would you like to see? Let's set aside Blink for a moment. Okay. But who else would you like to see do the halftime show?
Boy, that's tough because I feel like I've seen a lot of them already. I mean, Bruno Mars was probably my favorite.
He's awesome.
He and Justin Timberlake. God, that's hard if you take Blink off the table because Blink would probably be like my ideal
Is there any country concert that you'd like to see? 'Cause you and your wife are country fans,
Yeah, we're big
right?
country fans. I mean, I personally love Dan and Shay. They just had an album drop. I think they'd be really
They'd have to
entertaining
open for somebody.
Yeah, I don't know who the big country artist would be because I'm not.
Or be along with somebody.
Yeah, I don't know who the country artist would be that would get people like on your feet.
Who is the biggest country artist currently?
Probably Morgan Wallen. I would
Oh,
say.
yeah.
And I'm not a big fan, so like I'd be out on that one.
Not sure if the NFL would embrace that wholeheartedly.
I don't know, man.
A lot of these football players too. Man. You'd be surprised too if the NFL.
Yeah.
Like I think the NFL's big into country music, even if it is.
I would also say like they lean into the biggest stars regardless of who that is.
Yeah.
Lainey Wilson, Luke Combs.
Luke Combs. I don't know if Lainey Wilson's.
Casey Musgraves?
No, Ella Langley probably would be the one that would get people in there, but Luke Combs is a really good one.
You can feature Nate Smith.
Shabuzi?
He's definitely.
Shabuzi. I think Shabuzi's
Chris
only got
Stapleton?
like 3. No, God, I hate Chris Stapleton.
Really?
God. Hey, God, bothers the hell out of me. Oh, yeah, no. I don't think I could do that.
Let's have the inevitable actually play out. When is Mrs. Kelsey doing it? It has to happen, right, Taylor? No, seriously. At some
I
juncture.
thought you were talking about his mom for a second.
I thought you were talking
cameo.
Jason's wife.
She can cameo. It's all good. Come on. It's natural.
I'm frankly surprised she hasn't done one yet.
She refuses to do it because of the way that it's structured.
Which is so weird.
I mean, I think it's about her whole career is kind of, or at least the last decade of it has kind of been about like sticking it to the man and getting her actual albums back and all of that, the rights. She's a big proponent of artists' rights, and there's not much of that when it comes to the Super Bowl halftime show. They view it as like, we are doing you a favor more so than you getting paid for your work, all these different things. So anyways, there's a lot behind it.
The ideal 90s, if you're like asking me, would be NSYNC going back together and performing.
Really?
I think that would probably be number one for me.
I feel like there's a scenario where you could do like Justin Timberlake, NSYNC, and Backstreet Boys all as a 90s. Oh, yeah. They kind of did that with the hip hop one, right? The throwback to hip hop.
With Eminem and Dre and all of them. Yeah, that would be like if you're asking a 90s kid, go down pop path, put those two together, I'm all in on it.
Can't believe we've reached this point, but I'm going to say it. Justin kind of needs it.
Yeah, Justin,
he does.
I think Justin's been kind of laying low after his last.
He's done it. Well,
That's
good.
the thing. Like, I don't need just Justin. I need the whole band together. I don't think. I feel like I've had enough of Justin. Now it's time to go down that path again. You've done your solo side of it. Go down there. But if you want to throw Blink one in there, I mean, look, if you want to be right, put Blink out there on that damn stage. I promise you that will be the best halftime show you'll see.
I think one thing that we could get, and this would be like an appeal to me and my wife, like if Taylor did the halftime show, one of her producers for her albums is the front man for Bleachers. So if we could get Bleachers plus Taylor Swift, I think that would be a lot of fun. But I don't know if Taylor would want somebody else to be up there with her. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be one that I would be interested in. And as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Mumford & Sons. They would never get this kind of an opportunity, but Mumford & Sons would also be another one. Get a banjo on the stage.
If you're going to go banjo, let's go country music. I don't need Mumford & Sons.
Is that Jack Antonoff, by the way?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jack.
Thought so.
Yeah, I'll pass on
Bleachers
Mumford
are
&
fun.
Sons.
If you ever get a chance to see them live, they put on a really good show.
Yeah. How about Nickelback? Let's get some Nickelback, huh?
No, I'm good.
And Creed and Nickelback.
Creed is one that I could actually see. They do like, I think they've done Thanksgiving halftime before, haven't they? Didn't they do that a couple of years ago?
Pretty recently.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
I think they did it in Dallas.
Somebody said Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood would be good.
Did Creed do Thanksgiving?
Scott was rocking that
They did
Cowboys
it in 2001.
jersey.
I feel like they did it more recently.
I feel like I'd watch Donnie's head explode if the Super Bowl was like the Bills versus the Rams and it was Creed and Nickelback. Oh, God,
man.
that would be awesome.
Amazing. All right, alongside
Donnie
Alex
would
and
break.
Bradford on BK, coming up in about 15 minutes, is there an opening in the Western Conference now for the Blues to be able to walk through? We'll get into that here in just a little bit. But next, this is an ideal spot for Quinn Mathews to get his next start. Is it going to happen this weekend for him? And if so, what do the other roster moves look like? We'll talk about that next here on BK and Ferrario.
Get social with 101 ESPN. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube at 101 ESPN.
want to hear from you. Use the Scott Lee Mic Drop feature on the 101 mobile app. Give us your opinion on anything St. Louis sports with a mic drop.
Brought to you by the Scott Lee Heating Company.
WXOS HD1E St. Louis 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan. Over 1,000 vehicles in one location. This is exactly where you want to be, listening to us. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
How many roster moves are too many roster moves?
There's not enough roster moves.
I think that's a question that the Cardinals are probably asking themselves right now. Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, you've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Now let's start out with this. Before we get to Quinn Mathews, the pitching of it all those different things, Ramon Urias has not been doing well on his rehab stint.
Good.
He is 1 or 2 for his last 21. He has 7 strikeouts and 2 walks over that stretch. He's batting .095, Alex, in his last 6 games during his rehab stint. My guess is I brought him up earlier today as a possible call-up option. I wouldn't think they would want to bring him up just yet. They've still got, I think it's 5 more days, or 3 more days, actually. This weekend, they can still keep him down. I would think you'd want to use these 3 days to get him back on track offensively. Now, these are the numbers. I don't know what the actual at-bats have looked like. It's possible he's hitting into some bad luck right now, and these are line drives that are just being hit at people. We just went through that with Joshua Baez up here, where he went through, 0 for 20? Mm-hmm. The actual at-bats were great, and so if you looked at the stat sheet, you wouldn't have seen that. Maybe that's happening. Or maybe he's just not doing very well after being off for the last month.
And the other third baseman that we've talked about, Nolan Gorman, has gone through it a little bit. His last 5 games, it looks like he's got a total of 4 hits, and all of them have been singles.
All right, so he's
striking out a lot as well.
So he's not hitting at the same level. So if you're going to make a call-up on the position player side of things, I would think the most likely option would be Leo Bernal. Mm-hmm. He has been hitting well lately. Alex, would you make that call right now? Would you decide this weekend, going up against a couple of lefties, knowing that you're probably going to start, I would assume at least one of those games, Pedro Pages behind the plate, would you make the switch and go ahead and call up prior to September 1st, Leo Bernal?
I would. I'd call him up, because if I have a Pedro Pages starting here, I'd rather just put Leo Bernal. I don't think the Cardinals will, because this is a massive series for them. And I would imagine in an ideal scenario, you get him in on a homestand, you get him in against a lesser quality opponent to where you can prepare it for a little bit more with a day off. But if it's me, yeah, I'm calling him up for this Philly series, because I think he could help me in this Philly series. And frankly, where your pitching's at, you're going to need some offense against the Phillies.
The other thing is, like, if you were to do it on Sunday, for example, get him to start behind the plate. It's Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the opposition. He is a lefty. You would have then the right-handed switch-hitting bat in there for Leo Bernal. And my anticipation is Quinn Mathews will probably start that game. He's caught Quinn Mathews at the AAA level, so those guys already have some experience with one another. So he has an idea of what works best for Quinn Mathews. He's gone through the struggles with him down at Memphis, and he's seen what is able to get him back on track. So I do see some value in that. It's not the reason you would call him up. You don't do that just for a one-game scenario, but he could get the start tonight for Hunter Dobbins as well, who, guess what, has also worked with Leonardo Bernal at the AAA level. So it is something that I would seriously consider. Now, that being said, Alex, if you do it, what's your corresponding move? Do you send down Pedro Pages?
No, I send down Jimmy Crooks.
Do you send down Jimmy Crooks?
I send down Jimmy Crooks, because you're obviously not trusting him in big situations as a bat. You're playing Pedro Pages more behind the plate. You obviously feel as an organization he needs more work. And so I have the option with him. You got a taste of what Major League Baseball looks like. Now you can tell him what he needs to go down and work on. Do the same thing with him that you did with Nolan Gorman. Like, look, we need you to work on your swing. We need you to work on making more contact and not swinging for power and missing. Go down, get some work. Pages becomes what you've been using Jimmy Crooks as, and Leo Bernal comes up as the guy that starts 2 or 3 starts a week with Ivan Herrera.
I would do it. I don't think the Cardinals will.
I don't think they will. I think they'll wait until September.
I think they wait on the position player side of things, and tonight the thing that you see is them making moves with the pitchers. Now, on that side of things, we talked about this earlier today. Jeff Jones brought up on Twitter yesterday the Memphis Redbirds had a lead going into the ninth inning and decided to use a position player as their reliever in the ninth inning. Guess what? They lost.
Old strategy, Cotton.
Yep. And the only reason you do that is because you're trying to stay away from certain relievers. You do that because they're probably on their way to Philadelphia on a flight for the St. Louis Cardinals, and you're going to be making some roster moves this weekend. This is where it gets really interesting, Alex. They don't have much flexibility right now in the bullpen when it comes to optionality, like sending guys down without having to use the waivers system. Gordon Graceffo could be optioned down without having to send him through waivers. Luis Gastelum, he could also be sent down without having to use waivers. I'm not sending down Luis Gastelum right now. Not interested. That's a high leverage reliever for me with the way that he's been pitching. So either you only make one move and you send down Graceffo, or you make multiple moves and DFA one or both of Caleb Ferguson and or Peter Strzelecki. I think Strzelecki will be the guy that they option or DFA. Yep. He's unavailable today. He's been getting used a lot over the last few days. I'm guessing he's probably unavailable for the next few. So go ahead and utilize that spot in your bullpen. Bring up somebody. My assumption would be this is a spot, I've been wrong about this a lot, but my assumption, this is a spot where you could use Bryson Motts as a lefty reliever coming out of the pen for you, give you some bulk innings, go up against some of those left-handed bats at the top of their order. It's a good spot for him to have some success. Go ahead and call him up and get his first or second taste of the big league level.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be fascinated to see if they do it with Bryson Motts, because every time we've talked about him, they go different ways, and that tells me that they just don't really trust Bryson Motts right now to come to the major leagues. I don't know how much that matters if you're the Cardinals, because you just need healthy arms that can go out there and throw innings for you. I think there's two moves. I think Bryson Motts and Ryan Fernandez come up, and I think Strzelecki goes down, and I wonder if Gordon Graceffo goes down. Just because they have the option, they can send them down. You get a fresh batch of arms for Ryan Fernandez. And then when Quinn Mathews comes up, you probably see Ryan Fernandez go down.
Here's the problem with Fernandez.
It ain't pretty.
Last 12 outings at the AAA level. 10 hits, not good. 12 strikeouts, that's good.
There we go.
8 walks.
Oh.
0 earned runs somehow.
Okay, so he's pulling the old Harry Houdini.
He has allowed 18 base runners in 12 innings and has yet to allow an earned run in those 12 innings.
Yeah, well, it's also not pretty for Bryson Motts either.
Bryson Motts in his last 5 outings, 5 innings, 5 hits, 10 strikeouts. Or excuse me, I'm reading the Matt Swanson numbers. No. Bryson Motts in his last 6 outings, 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 walks, 3 earned runs.
Yeah, and not as many strikeouts.
No. 4 strikeouts in those 6 innings.
It's not pretty for any of the
Thompson
options.
is the only one that has actually been really good, and we've gone down this route with him before.
Yeah.
5 innings, 5 hits, 10 strikeouts, no walks, 1 earned.
And they just used him, though, so you can't even call him up because you'd have to wait till tomorrow to where he'd even be an option for you.
Most likely, yeah.
So
I would say avoid the Ryan Fernandez call-up.
Yeah.
I would consider the Bryson Motts move because it's a lefty, and you could use a lot of them in this series against the Phillies. But beyond that, I think you might be looking at a 40-man move, Alex. Maybe this is the time where you bring up a Cade Winquist or a Hansel Rincon. Yeah, it could result in you losing them this offseason or make it a 40-man move that you regret. But, man, Cade Winquist is 26 years old. He has big-time velo. Let's see what it looks like up here. Hansel Rincon, if not now, then when? Like, when are you potentially going to get a look at him? He's been really good in AAA over the last 6 weeks. So I think you might end up seeing a guy make his debut this weekend at the major league level, and then we'll see where you're at on Sunday, and you make the move for Quinn Mathews to be able to make his next start.
You're in a spot now where it would make an awful lot of sense for you to just do an overhaul with this bullpen. And I know you can only do so much, but I look at it as Ferguson, Strzelecki, and who was the other one? No, just those two. Those are the two that I would say you can take out of, pluck out of this bullpen and insert multiple other pieces. The real question is, where are you going with it? Because we've seen Swanson, you've seen Ryan Fernandez. None of those really get you that excited. Bryson Motts hasn't had a whole lot of success in Memphis. And then you're going to a couple of guys that you're having to make 40-man moves with, which you don't know how that turns out.
The other question that I wanted to ask you here, Alex, we've kind of talked around it. Quinn Mathews, he's, I would assume, going to join the team in Philadelphia, probably start that game on Sunday. It sounds as though they're preparing to flip Kyle Leahy to the bullpen. Quinn Mathews gets that spot in the rotation for the foreseeable future. How's that going to change your view of the rotation? Because Kyle Leahy, as we talked about earlier today, BT said if they had a game one, he would be the guy, Kyle Leahy would, that he would trust to start a game one based upon just how he's pitched lately. I don't think that any of us could really argue that. How much does your belief in this rotation change if you go from Kyle Leahy starting those days to Quinn Mathews starting on those days?
It dips significantly because now I have two guys in my rotation that I don't trust can give me 5 innings when they take the mound. Now, Matthew Liberatore has been good in 3 of his last 4 starts, so maybe that's not fair to him. But every time he takes the mound, I get the tight butt cheek effect to wondering what this is going to look like. And then with Quinn Mathews, I mean, look, the guy's got, as T-Bone likes to remind us, Snell-esque stuff. But that Snell-esque stuff means he might only give you 4 innings for how high his pitch count goes. So it concerns me because of the trickle-down effect. If I only have Palante, who's gone through it a little bit in his last couple of outings, McGreevy, who has the same, and Dobbins, who is a wild card, that means 3 of them I'm living off of hope that they can give me 5 for sure. 2 of them I'm questioning a lot, and then that means my bullpen's going to get overtaxed, and we just had the conversation of it. So, yeah, pitching is a little bit of a concern right now for the Cardinals when you pluck Kyle Leahy, because to me, I'm with BT. That dude was guaranteed giving me 6, and it was going to be a competitive outing, and now I don't know if I have that.
It's the depth of the pen that makes me a little concerned. And this is why I wonder if they start using those 40-man spots to add, Rincon, potentially Cade Winquist as well. Because if you add some more flexibility and maybe you do decide to DFA Caleb Ferguson and Strzelecki, now you've got more flexibility for the next 3 to 4 weeks where you can call those guys up and then you can send them back down, bring another group up, and you can start playing with that. Like every 15 days, you've got a new group of relievers that are coming into the mix, and you could even spread it out to where like every 5 days you get a new one. And that allows you to have more fresh arms available for you. We just got this on the text line with a lot of people bringing up, hey, they just signed Josh Fleming, the lefty from the Toronto Blue Jays. Is that somebody who could be coming up this weekend? My guess, this is purely a guess, is that's insurance in the event that they lose Caleb Ferguson on waivers. So you've got this guy ready to go at the AAA level. If you decide to DFA Caleb Ferguson, all right, no harm, no foul. We've got another guy in Josh Fleming that can just take that spot for us in, 5-10 days if Bryson Motts doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So it allows for a little bit more of a floor for that spot in your bullpen so you don't end up losing out on multiple different options for you from that depth. Because we saw this past week, they were severely lacking when it came to depth in their bullpen, and that's something they're going to need if they're going to be limited by Quinn Mathews only throwing 4 or 5 innings most days. I think that's likely. And every 5th day, only getting 2 innings out of Kyle Leahy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically working with a 6-man rotation right now, but that 6th man is only throwing 2 innings every 5 days.
Yeah.
It's tough. That makes it difficult if you're the manager, and this is going to put a lot of pressure on the front office, specifically Chaim Bloom, to make sure he's pulling all of the right levers when it comes to the bullpen availability.
The hope is with Leahy's transition is that you can look at Quinn Mathews and say, hey, man, we need 5 every time you take that mound, because then our bullpen gets a little bit of relief. Because if you can push Leahy to 3 at most and get 5 from Quinn Mathews, now you're talking about once every 5th day only having to use 1 guy out of your bullpen.
We've had a few people ask this from the 636. Just tuned in. Why would they take Leahy out of the rotation? Innings. I'm not telling you you have to like it. I'm not telling you have to agree with it. But the Cardinals view it as, hey, we've got to respect the fact that he is at a career high in innings and he's bumping up against it, and we don't want to shut him down completely. And so the way to keep him in the mix without going over what they've allotted for his innings this year is to transition him to more of a bullpen or a piggyback role, where it is, hey, every 5th day you get X amount of innings and it's prescribed for him. And he's on a specific routine to be able to maintain where he's at right now. So that, I think that's where we're at. I think that begins on Sunday.
Yep.
Would be my guess. Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, 15 minutes from now, we'll get into a game of One's Gotta Go. 314-399-9646. That's your Comfort Service text line to get your scenarios in. You give us 4 different options. We'll tell you which one's got to go here on BK and Ferrario. But next, is there an opening that's about to exist in the Western Conference that the Blues can potentially walk through for a playoff spot. We'll get into that next here on 101 ESPN.
We want to hear from you. Text us at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN. They are St. Louis. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN.
Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, just got the game notes from the St. Louis Cardinals. They are listing Hunter Dobbins as the starter for tonight. The next two nights are listed as TBD.
Makes sense. Quinn starts on Sunday.
Tomorrow is, as of today, expected to be Andre Palante. Maybe they flip that and say, hey, Quinn Mathews, we want you on Saturday. We'll give an extra day of rest to Palante, put him on Sunday against Sanchez. I suppose that's possible. Liberatore is right now scheduled to be on Tuesday for that first game back here in St. Louis against the Baltimore Orioles. I wonder if they would rather have Palante in front of Libby instead of Quinn in front of Libby.
That would make sense. Two lefties.
Split up the lefties, and B, I think I trust Palante to get deeper into the game. So you've got that kind of guardrail between Dobbins and Quinn. Because Quinn, you're probably going to piggyback with Kyle Leahy.
Will he be eligible for Saturday?
What do you mean?
Like, is his 5-day?
Oh, his 15 days is up because remember they just did the 27th.
No, I mean with Leahy. Like, is that 5-day rotation turn? Is that Saturday?
I think it would be 4 days off.
Okay.
Because he would have gone on Monday, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so he'd have 4 days off. It would be the 5th day. He's used to going on 5 days rest, so that's why I assumed Sunday. But if they think he's ready to go for tomorrow, I could see why you would go. Yeah. That's a traditional major league rest day, right? Like normally they would be on a 5-man rotation and it would be 4 days off, and on that 5th day you'd start.
And I would imagine with the off day, if you started him on Saturday, you're stretching it out to the normal 5 days off the next time you'd see Kyle Leahy.
Correct.
So get 2 innings out of him on Saturday, and then it's back to the normal one if you can push him to 3.
Correct.
The 5 days from Saturday.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
Be curious to see which direction they decide to go there. But one of the 2 days I would assume will be Quinn Mathews. The other day is probably Andre Palante. I don't know if that'll be Saturday versus Sunday, but one of the two. That's probably the way they are going to go. And that's the update from the St. Louis Cardinals. Alex, earlier today, you saw a piece over on the Daily Faceoff on the 5 NHL teams that look noticeably weaker heading into the upcoming season. You said there's a takeaway that you had that relates to the Blues.
Yeah, I think it opens up a spot where the Blues, to what Kerbs told us on Wednesday, of how he thinks that they'll be a wild card or should be a wild card, potentially fighting for that 3rd place spot. You know, Matt Larkin always does this every year. And, you know, the 4 of these teams on here are from the Western Conference. 1 was Vegas, 2 was Colorado, 3 was Dallas, 4 was the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Anaheim, I talked about this. I think that team's not going to be as good because of what the decisions they've made with some of these players. But just going through that list of those 4 teams, all of those were playoff teams. Now, I don't think Colorado falls out of a playoff spot, nor do I think Dallas falls out of a playoff spot. Anaheim, I do. And now you're talking about, okay, where's Vegas end up on this one? I wonder about Vegas. Of course, they're top heavy with guys like Marner and Eichel, but that depth is gone. If all of these teams start to struggle, that's where it opens up the possibility for the Blues to push themselves in that wild card spot, because I think Utah's going to be better than what they were last year if they get their goaltending. I don't think the Kings are going to be any good with the transitions they've gone through. And now you're talking about you and San Jose, you would imagine, are the teams that kind of pick up the pace from where they were last year. I think if these teams struggle, which I do see kind of that transitioning of the guard in the Western Conference, like I do think Colorado's eliteness is going to trend the opposite direction if their depth starts to take a hit. Same with Vegas, Dallas as well. That's the opening that you hope for. If those teams are a little bit weaker, it creates a little bit more competitiveness to push yourself into that wild card race.
Are you saying that more for 2026 or for the future?
For the future, not for 2026. Okay.
I'm glad that we cleared that up, because I look at this and like, okay, so Colorado lost Nichushkin. It's a relatively big loss. Outside of that, though, Jack Drury, Ross Colton.
Yeah, they lost their depth. That's the bigger thing they lost. They're going to be fine because they still got Natchez, McKinnon, Landeskog. But the problem is if you lose your depth, it's hard to imagine guys stay healthy for 82-plus games.
Dallas is a little bit of a bigger deal. They lost Maverick Bourque. That's not a small one. Michael Bunting, but, you know, it is what it is. Those teams were playing from such a position of strength that for 2026, I don't think this really changes a whole lot for the Blues and their opening in the Western Conference for Colorado or Dallas. Vegas is interesting.
Anaheim and Vegas are the ones that change it for the Blues.
No doubt. Those are the 2 that I look at and I say, all right, that's kind of intriguing, but it goes back to the Pacific Division. I think it's a bigger deal for the Pacific than it is for necessarily the wild card race.
Well, I don't think the Pacific
I think the 3 spots in the Central, to me, are just taken. Like it's Vegas, or excuse me, it's Minnesota, it's Dallas, it's Colorado.
Dallas is going to be interesting. I think there's a chance Dallas does fall back a little bit. Minnesota oversteps them, and then can they hold on to that 3rd place spot? I'm with you there.
I still think it's a 100-point team.
But again,
I don't think Maverick Bourque makes that much of a difference to where they're 15 points worse because they don't have Maverick Bourque.
He doesn't, but I think now you're relying solely on Hintz, Robertson, Johnston, and Rantanen, which it's a hell of a 4 to rely on. Yeah, hell of a 4. But when you become a one-dimensional team with one line, teams can start to figure out a little bit more.
Great defensive core.
Yeah. I'm not worried about them falling out of the top 3. There's a chance that Minnesota pushes them back, and then where do they fall in this? The bigger thing is the Pacific Division, but to me, the Pacific Division is only strong enough to hold down to their 3 spots. I think that means the wild card is open. Like LA got that wild card last season. I don't think LA is going to be good enough to hold on to that wild card spot, nor do I think Anaheim's going to be good enough to hold on to a wild card spot. So I think there's going to be 2 teams in the Pacific that are like, yeah, well, they're going to be in the playoff race because of that division being weak. Some of them are at risk anyway because of San Jose this season. Now it feels like there's 2 wild card spots available for you to push for if you're consistent enough, which is why the first 2 months are going to be so pivotal for the Blues, because you don't want to be chasing late in the season for the wild card. You want to establish yourself and try and hold on to it.
All right, the other piece that stood out to us was Corey Pronman over on The Athletic, who wrote about the biggest Stanley Cup contenders for 2030. So he's projecting 3 years out from where we are today and saying, hey, these are the teams that are going to be really, really good when we get to 3 to 5 years down the road. Number 1 on the list, San Jose. Makes sense. You got Macklin Celebrini. You got the young core that they're building around right
dominant.
now. Sure. Yeah, I get that. Number 2, Montreal. All right. Yeah, I could buy into that as well. You've got Lane Hudson, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Cole Caulfield, Dimidov. I mean, that's a damn good core as well. Yeah. Number 3, Utah. I said this the other day. I kind of want to see it before I really buy in, but I understand the argument.
Yeah.
Number 4, Buffalo. Number 5, Toronto. Toronto's a little tough to buy into here, but
I'm the same way with Buffalo. Like, I think we're getting way out over our skis off of one season for Buffalo.
On the very bottom of the list at 32, this is rough, man. Vancouver. You're terrible right now and have a bad pipeline. Woof.
Yeah, you know you're going into a full-blown rebuild.
31, Winnipeg again. Yikes. 30, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Also,
29.
Also, think about that for a minute, though. Penguins with the fan and the public vote, yesterday's list was top 10, and now we're 30th in terms of what the outlook looks like. Doesn't make much sense.
29th, Calgary, and 28, Detroit. What are we doing?
Detroit should be so much lower than this. Detroit should probably be number 31.
3 of the bottom 4 are Canadian teams.
Yeah.
Not great.
Woof.
Ottawa, by the way, 26. So 4 of the bottom 7.
How about that? Ottawa, the team that everybody was so excited about, has gone flat. And then Nashville's on there as well. And LA and Seattle and Washington. Now, I know you get to the Blues at that point, but
that's what I was going to get to. So 20 is the St. Louis Blues. And their write-up says this: the Blues have a lot of solid middle-of-the-lineup young players in their system who project as everyday NHLers, but they are still desperately missing a true star to build around. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, because they don't have it, but I think we're going off of the now. But if you're projecting forward, man, you can say that, but Robert Thomas is as close to being a star as you can ask for. Like, I saw somebody doing a redraft of the 2019 draft, and they had Thomas going 5th overall.
Makes sense.
That guy is a star. It's just he hasn't put up the numbers, or the team hasn't had the success. And I also think if you're projecting to 2030, you have to look at what the outlook is for guys like Snuggerud and Holloway. Like, those guys produced, and I understand it's half of a season for both of them. They produced that half of the season like most stars. So I'd have them a little bit higher. Like, I think the Blackhawks are there. Connor Bedard has shown me nothing to prove that he's a star that can carry a team.
I saw them at 17. I mean, they're not viewing them as necessarily a contender either.
Sure, but like
their top 5 is teams that have stars.
I'm basing it off of like the top 8 in the Western Conference, and Chicago would be in that category versus the Blues.
So they've got in the Western Conference, if you were looking for the top 8, San Jose, Utah, Anaheim.
That's a joke too.
Minnesota, Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, and Chicago.
Yeah.
Chicago would be 8th.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, you're splitting hairs at this point. I think the Blues are in a better spot than Chicago if you're just projecting off of it. To say that they don't have any true star talent, sure, they don't have the guys that were drafted 1st overall. I think they got guys that have produced more like star talent than maybe a couple of these other rosters.
Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, coming up in 15 minutes, we'll hit the rewind. But next, you give us 4 different options. We will tell you which one's got to go. And our game of one's got to go next here on BK and Ferrario.
101 ESPN is powered by Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
ESPN has your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets to this year's Blues and Brews on Friday evening, September 18th at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for the blues season at this outdoor street party featuring live music from the Bobby Ford Band and Matt Jordan, plus appearances by blues players and alumni, food trucks, on-stage festivities, and more. Tickets are on sale now for Blues and Brews.
Presented by Michelob Ultra, 101 ESPN, 92.3 WIL, and Scott Lee Heating Company, your locally owned and operated Mitsubishi electric elite contractor.
Find all the details and your shot to score free tickets right now at 101ESPN.com and on the 101 app. The 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Dobbins draws tough assignment versus Phils. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns. Your Sports Center update is delivered by Saliga Heating and Cooling. St. Louis kicks off a weekend series in Philadelphia today as Hunter Dobbins takes the hill for Ollie Marmol. First pitch arriving shortly after 5:30. Don Mattingly's Phillies have won 6 straight games, though STL just captured 3 of 5 from Cincinnati. BMW Championship Round 2. J.J. Spahn sits atop Belle Reeve's crowded leaderboard. Rory McIlroy lurking 3 strokes back, while 2-time U.S. Open champ Wyndham Clark tees it up momentarily. Tomorrow, Mizzou holds fall camp scrimmage number 2. Our weekend pigskin coverage, including Seahawks-Titans NFL preseason style. This Sports Center update was powered by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Giving you the picture, the real big St. Louis sports picture. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. This is BK and Ferrario. Time now for One's Gotta Go. We offer up the talking points, and you get to pick which one's gotta go on 101 ESPN.
Count that big pen.
314-399-9646. That is the Air Comfort Service text line. Our YouTube chat at 101 ESPN STL. You can jump in on the graveyard there along with Bradford Bruns. I'm Alex Ferrario. And BK, he'll be back momentarily as he's out there taking care of some business as he'll jump into One's Gotta Go. So Bradford will hold down the fort here for One's Gotta Go.
I love it, Alex. After all, you've got 90 seconds basically in which to operate, so it can be
everything we have to do is fast forward in the breaks here on BK and Ferrario. So you know the situation. You send us a scenario, give us 3 options. We'll tell you which one has got to go. A Friday staple here on BK and Ferrario. We'll start with this one from the 314. One's Gotta Go, Ways to Communicate edition. Email, cell phone, texting, or writing letters.
Oh, boy.
I think this is obvious because I can't tell you the last time that I wrote. I can't tell you the last time I wrote anything down with a pen or a pencil. I don't write. Well,
Pass
I know
it
you
over.
do. I don't write. I don't fill out cards on birthdays. I feel like they're pointless. I've always been that way. So
that's fair.
The writing letters would have to go.
You know what? I'm an old school guy. This shocks no one.
No.
So, of course, the letters have to stay. They have their purpose. They have meaning to me, even in this day and age. Alex, you know what? For that matter, I will actually say, because I can get by without question, without texting in an abundance, but the phone, of course, is going to stay there because I love the old school phone calls as well. If I have to pick from any of those options, I think I'm actually dumping the texting because a longer message can come through email style. Yeah, you heard it.
Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
90 seconds not enough for you out there?
No, it turns out our short breaks just weren't cutting it for me today, and I needed a little bit of extra time.
Man. When you gotta go, you gotta
go. Email. I'm good.
You don't like emails?
No, I'm good.
I'd rather do that, though, than
I'd
write
rather
a letter.
text. Just send me a text. I don't want to have to go back and forth on the email.
It's the Phil comment from Hangover. Like, just text me. Don't call me. Or no, he said, don't text me. I think that's what he said.
Yeah, I don't need the call, really, unless it's family. Like, I like FaceTiming now. We do a lot of that with the little guy. So FaceTime's great. Don't really talk on the phone very often. And email, I'm good on. Just text me. I'd rather go that way.
Don't write me a letter.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. 4-1's got to go. You give us 4 different options. We'll tell you which one's got to go. One's got to go Public Service Edition. Trash pickup, public transit, public parks and libraries, or road maintenance. I guess I would go public transit because I can find other ways around. I use those other 3 more often. I do wish St. Louis had better public transit, though. So that would be the one that's got to go in this scenario, but I do like it.
In certain areas, the road service is trash, though. There's times.
But would you rather get rid of it completely?
No.
Because that's the alternative.
Well, sometimes it
At
feels
least
like
now
it's
we
not
have
there completely. I think you're right, though. Public transit, because I don't use it.
Public transit, although there's no winner in this case.
Yeah. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. One's got to go burgers, hot dogs, or bratwursts. Hot dog for me.
Yeah, hot dog for me.
I like a good brat.
Yeah, I'll eat a hot dog if you put it in front of me, but I have so many other options before that.
It's a brat for me. I'm sticking up for Tanner, going team hot dog, and the burgers, I could do them each and every day.
One's got to go. JJ Weatherholt, Jimmy Snuggerud. I guess we just got 2 options here.
Oh, okay.
Snuggie for me.
I'd get rid of Weatherholt. Cardinals Blues fan is what you're going with.
Oh, my. Have to be the tiebreaker.
I need a 40-goal score.
This is excruciating. Begrudgingly, I'll say Snuggie by just a tad. Don't hold it against me, please.
This guy can't even win Rookie of the Year.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. 4-1's got to go. One's got to go workout edition. Lifting weights, yoga, stationary bike, or CrossFit.
CrossFit.
I've done all of these.
That sounds miserable, and I don't need to do CrossFit.
I've done every single one of these at some point. I would go CrossFit as well at this point in my life. My shoulders don't hold up for it.
Yeah, no, I don't need that in my life. I'm just doing it so I don't die.
Yeah,
that's really why I'm doing it.
Stationary bike is the only one I can handle, I think. So there you go.
One's got to go.
Bradford, don't lie to the people.
Edition.
You lift.
A lager, an IPA, a stout, or a Pilsner. Which of those 4 would you like?
Which one of those are Michelob Ultra Cactus Limes?
More of a lager.
Okay. Well, that stays. So get rid of. I don't think I do a lot of IPAs.
I would assume you're not an IPA
Those
guy.
are dark beers?
No, they're bitter.
Yeah.
Hops.
Wait, no, IPAs, aren't those Blue Moons?
No.
What's Blue Moon?
An ale.
I like those. Get rid of IPAs. I don't think I like that.
I'll be honest, guys. I need a full education here because, as you know, I'm more of a Sunset Red, Sunset White kind
Budweiser
of
would
guy.
be a lager. I think technically Coors Light's, or not Coors Light.
Busch.
Miller Lite is a Pilsner. It's not a necessarily great one, but it's a Pilsner nonetheless.
Chill over there, dog.
IPAs are heavier typically, and there are different styles of them, but they're super hoppy, which makes them a little more bitter. And stouts are a dark beer that is typically pretty heavy.
That's pretty
more
good.
Of a fall/winter.
Well, we're in St. Louis, so Budweiser stays. Everything else can go. I don't care.
Okay. For me, I would say at this point in my life, a stout would probably be the one that's got to go. I've kind of reverted back to more lagers and Pilsner. Big Pilsner guy at this point, and I like myself a good New England IPA. Hazy IPA is always delicious. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line. 4-1's got to go. From the 636, one's got to go food edition. Hot dog, beef jerky, bacon, or sausage.
Beef jerky's got to go. I haven't had a beef jerky since like 2008.
I do not like jerky.
I used to eat it all the time, but it was the quick food that you'd have to like stuff in your face while you're on the run.
Yeah, it's become more tolerable in recent years, but that's the snacky option, right? I mean, the other things are a bit more filling, correct?
I get sick thinking of people eating those now. Ugh.
Yeah.
No, jerky's nasty. I love me some bacon. Put it on everything.
I don't like it.
Yeah, hot dog's good. It really comes down to sausage or beef jerky for me, and I'd rather have a breakfast sausage than a beef jerky.
From Snorting Ants, Alex's beer choices sounds like a sorority girl at Mizzou.
No, there's no seltzers. Well, there are seltzers. I do love me some Cactus Lime.
Yes, there are.
I like Budweiser. I like Bud Light. I like Busch Light. I like Michelob Ultra. I love Miller Light. I'll drink those. I don't need any of your weird anything that you have to explain to me what it is and what the nodes are in it. I'm out.
Notes.
I don't care.
It's okay, buddy.
I don't care.
Nodes.
I don't care. You can explain it to me all you want. The fact that you're explaining to me what these beers are, I'm not a hipster. I don't need fancy beer. Put a beer in front of me.
You did a great job, though. You did a great job.
And to be clear, I am a hipster. I do
know.
like those kinds of beers. I also went to a coffee shop this morning that had fantastic coffee. Course over in St. Charles is my every Friday go-to spot with the wife.
That's great. I buy coffee in the bag from Costco, and I make it, and I bring it with me every morning.
And I do a pour over the weekend.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is.
It's in the name. You pour it over the coffee.
See, you're too fancy with your stuff. I just want it in front of me.
I'm a beer and coffee and whiskey guy. Those are my things. I'm a runner as well.
Yeah, you're a hipster, and I don't like hipsters.
If I could make it work, I would have long hair. I would have a mustache. I would have a sleeve on my arm. I'm not cool enough for any of those things.
I don't like hipsters. You can call me whatever you want. I don't get offended. Just put it in front of me and don't have to explain it to me.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. 4-1's gotta go. Also, Mahomes Long Body says, drink whatever you like, man. Who cares? Yeah. It's my perspective on it as well.
It's everybody goes to it. It's like, oh, you only drink frat girl drinks. Sorority. Frats are boys. Sorry, I wasn't in a frat. I wasn't cool enough.
That's okay. It's a fraternity.
You drink girl drinks. Yeah, you know what? I love me a good fancy girl drink. Put it in front of me, and I'll drink it.
You know what? Underrated as well, if I may say so myself. Some buzzball action. Yeah.
I don't know what buzzball is.
I don't think I've had that.
Oh, really? They're everywhere now. Seriously, ubiquitous. Check it out.
Buzzball.
Mm-hmm.
Buzzballs.
All of the flavors. Buzzballs.
Ready to drink cocktails. There's no way that's good.
Oh, come on now.
I refuse to believe that these are good.
A little more assembly line, 2 assembly line for you there.
This looks like somebody that would have, or something that would have like a lot of toxic chemicals in it.
Don't hate on the pink lemon squeezy until you sample it.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
The Strawberryta chili mango cocktail.
There were World Cup offerings just a couple of months ago. I got into it.
Berry cherry limeade.
Oh, that's a good one. We've got a biggie right now.
I love me a good cherry limeade.
Cocoa chiller.
Oh, yeah. I love me a good cherry limeade. They used to have those at
Are
Sonic.
these actually good?
Yes, I'm serious.
Are they incredibly sweet?
They are rather sweet. Okay. That's true. How about grapes gone wild? You intrigued by that one?
No, that one doesn't do it for me.
Again, why are we judging everybody? Just let them drink what they want to drink.
Oh, I have no problem with him drinking them. I don't think this would be something that would appeal to me.
Everybody's got to be the big tough guy because they like to drink lagers and IPAs, and you don't drink the man beer.
Thanks, Alex.
I love me a good sugary drink.
From the 636, BK, the same company that makes a lot of your favorite bourbons, also makes Buzzballs. Okay. I'm open to trying just about anything once. If I don't like it, though, I probably won't do it again. Mahomes Long Body, how much money do we think BK spends on coffee a year?
So
it's
much.
Not something I want to think about.
So much.
I have a coffee subscription to
I have that too.
A coffee company
I
out
have
in
the Black Rifle
North Carolina.
Company, who I have mine with.
Mine's from a place called Black and White in North Carolina. It's $25 a month. They send me a specialty coffee bag each month, and then we go to course each Friday. That's about,
and it's got a lot of nodes in it.
Nodes. $10 each Friday. So yeah, I spend enough on coffee, but that's what I like. I don't spend a lot of money on my clothes, as you could probably see on the YouTube chat. I'm not out here spending money on much else. I have an 09 Honda Accord as my car. We live in a 900 square foot house. We live within our means, and then I like to spend on some other stuff that I enjoy.
From the Oakville Mafia, I like what I drink. Don't be a hater and judge me. I'll drink what I want. Peace out. Damn right, Oakville Mafia.
I agree.
Enjoy what you want over here. These hipsters that are judging us with our drinks.
Again, I'm not judging you. I'm saying what I like. If you like something, that's great.
There was tone in what we said we liked.
I don't feel that way. I think the text line said that. I just relayed what the text line was saying.
How about watermelon, BK? You want some watermelon? We'll bring it in next week.
I love watermelon.
Of the Buzzballs variety.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you got to have the watermelon drink.
Yeah, I'm down for that. We just cut up a black diamond watermelon last night. Delicious.
Good one.
Alongside Alex and Bradford on BK, the Rewind is next here on 101 ESPN.
The NFL preseason is on ESPN. Sunday, Titans and Seahawks. Pre-game at 8:30, kickoff at 9. Your destination for the NFL in St. Louis is 101 ESPN. Back to more of it. It's BK and Ferrario on 101 ESPN. Let's run it back with a daily rewind on BK and Ferrario. Brought to you by Gloria Loom, your home sold guaranteed realty. Selling your home begins at GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Not sure what to make of this, Alex, but the Cardinals do have their lineup posted alongside Alex and Bradford on BK. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. Noteworthy, I'm not going to spoil the lineup game for you guys. I know that the Fast Lane will play this later today, but if you don't want to know anything about it, take down your radio for about 30 seconds. You can keep us on. Just, turn down the volume for a little bit. J.J. Weatherholt back at shortstop again today.
Wow.
I wondered yesterday why they didn't have Mason Wynn take the at-bat that Everson Pereira took for them. I think we're getting our answer here. He was able to pinch run in that spot, but did not take the at-bat, then came in later. I think it was the 9th inning, I guess it would have been. Took an at-bat there, only swung at one pitch, did not look overly comfortable. I think that hand's bothering him, would be my guess right now. So J.J. Weatherholt back at shortstop today for the Cardinals. It does not appear that they have made any roster moves, at least when it comes to the position player side of things. Alex, I'll add this. Pedro Pajes in at catcher.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I knew they wouldn't call up Bernal, but, this is the spot. What are we doing? Just put Bernal in this. Why do we need to see this with Pedro Pajes?
You know something that's really going to annoy fans? Guess who else is not in the lineup today?
Baez?
No, he is.
Oh,
it's a lefty on the mound.
Oh, Blaze?
Burleson's not in the lineup.
Oh,
Blaze is at first.
Oh, okay. Wow, that makes sense. So Torres at third? Or is it Fermin?
Torres is at second. Pereira in center field today.
Oof.
Fermin does not leave this lineup. How dare you even insinuate?
Ollie doesn't take him out of the lineup.
It's a righty on the mound. A lefty on the mound. Once they go to a righty, I'm sure you'll see Burley's deployed off of the bench. You'll probably see Nathan Church come off of the bench, get himself some opportunities in center field. But yeah, to open things up, they're going with a heavy right-handed lineup against a lefty starter in Jesus Luzardo tonight.
Yeah, makes sense. And since we were talking about bullpen arms, Scott Barlow was just DFA'd. Right-handed bullpen arm who was with the Athletics. I wonder if there's a Cardinals just go get that guy and put him on their roster.
I think he's been pretty bad this year.
Yeah, he has been.
Yeah, he's got a 6.5 ERA on the season.
We just need innings right now, big boy.
Now, he is pitching at a pretty terrible ballpark for pitchers, but even the underlying numbers suggest, there's not much here. So I think I'm probably good on that. I think they've got better options internally. I find it pretty interesting that they decided to go this direction with a lineup today. And I do wonder, normally when they have announced their lineup, it means there are not roster moves that are going to be announced. Now, maybe it's only pitching moves, so there's no reason to hold the lineup any further. But
even then, though, it feels like they don't announce roster moves once the lineup's set. When the lineup's set, they're ready to go.
That's the first announcement that you get. Then you don't get other roster moves. I wonder if they're just going to keep the bullpen as is for tonight, and then the moves actually take place tomorrow for the game. Because today,
that's what they did in that Cubs series, though. They played normal, and then
day 2,
Baez was called up.
Move. I would think today Brule will be available. Graceffo should be available. Maybe on Gastelum. Ferguson for sure. Maybe you use Ferguson tonight and then you use him as one of the moves for tomorrow. I would guess O'Brien, Soriano, and Stanek are all down. The one that surprises me, I'm surprised they're not making a move for Strzelecki tonight.
Because he pitched so much.
Yeah, he pitched 31. He threw 31 pitches yesterday. He's for sure going to be down today. And he threw 46 on Monday.
So how many do you have then? You've got Ferguson, you've got Brule, you've got Graceffo, you've got Gastelum. So they probably look at it as, you make your roster moves tomorrow. We've got 4 arms. If Dobbins can give us 5, which he's done in his last 4 starts consistently, they probably view it as, we don't need the roster move today. Tomorrow we'll make the slew of roster moves.
Strzelecki's not going to do anything for you today.
But you don't need him to. If you've got Ferguson,
Sure, but you can just make the move today.
Oh,
and
well, maybe they're making
you
multiple.
At least give yourself another out there because you're not guaranteed to get 5 from Dobbins.
Yeah,
you could potentially only get 3 or 4 out of him. I'll be curious to see what this looks like, and the Fast Lane will certainly keep you guys apprised with any of the moves as they take place today. If there are other moves that are coming up, I don't think they're going to do great with the lineup game today, so enjoy listening to that. They'll take care of you guys from 2 to 6.
That one's going to be real difficult.
Alex, to recap what we just witnessed, I don't even think we should try to break down that game yesterday. It was insane.
Yeah.
They win 3 out of 5 in Cincinnati. It was an ugly series overall. How would you capture it? What would be your biggest takeaway from it?
What my daughter likes to say, that was poopy. But honestly, who cares? It could look as awful as it looked yesterday. And all I need to know is, did you win the series against the Reds? Because the way to keep yourself in this playoff race is win series. We know why it didn't look pretty. It's because your bullpen's just in a really rough spot right now. But you played a team that's in a worse spot than you, that made a defensive blunder that pulled you back into the game. You nearly lost it again, but you found a way to hold on to it. Those are the games that remind you you're in a rebuild. But it doesn't matter because you're still in the race. And that's all I think Cardinals fans care about right now. It doesn't matter how it looks. It just matters getting there. And for the Cardinals, you did your job. You won the series. Now you go to Philadelphia. You cannot have a game like the last few in Cincinnati. You can't have errors galore against the Phillies because they will make you pay. The Reds get an opportunity to pull yourself back in. So now is when you have to see perfection from your roster.
Yeah, you need guys to make the plays that are in front of them. Not having Mason win today is going to make that more difficult because a big part of their defense has been the ability to be elite up the middle with he and J.J. Weatherholt. Today, you only have J.J. Weatherholt in there, so that's not going to make things easier. Hunter Dobbins on the mound this evening. It's a 5:40 first pitch in Philadelphia. Philly is the winner of 6 in a row, playing some good baseball right now. The offense has really started to turn it on. You've got Luzardo, Painter, and Sanchez as the 3 announced starters for Philly. Cardinals have not yet announced their starters for Saturday or for Sunday. Again, if there are any roster moves, the Fast Lane will have those for you guys later on this afternoon. You win 2 out of 3. I don't care how it happens. I don't care what it looks like. You win 2 out of 3 this weekend. That will be considered a success. The 101 ESPN this week has your chance to win a free 4-pack of tickets to this year's Blues and Brews. That's coming up on Friday, September the 18th. It'll take place at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. Get fired up for this blues season with appearances by blues players, food trucks, live music from the Bobby Ford Band and Matt Jordan. Plus, tickets available at 101ESPN.com and the free 101 ESPN app. Those tickets are on sale right now. They are presented by Michelob Ultra, by 101 ESPN, and by Scott Lee Heating Company. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it, and that's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. You can find the latest edition of the Last Minute Blues podcast, the Redbird Report, College Football Connection over at youtube.com/101ESPN-STL. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, rate, and review those as well. It really helps us out on the YouTube side of things. For Alex and Bradford, I'm BK. Thank you all so very much for listening today. You have a fantastic and safe weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. The Fast Lane is next here on 101 ESPN.
You can now listen to 101 ESPN on demand. Get caught up on all our shows and podcasts at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 mobile app. 101 ESPN podcasts are presented by the Schaefer Door Company.